Trigger me. Yes, I need. It actually starts, let me just hear it again at the beginning. There it is. Now, you do it. Needs work. It makes me feel so good.
I've never heard that song.
Every time we do it. You know what? I'm going to take a quick little pee break and then we start. It was a big hit.
Okay. I can cajole the audience. There's something they've been missing, which is the recorder. Of course. I'm a little out of practice. I haven't had much of a demand for this. All right, here we go. Back?
Well, I was doing accompaniment.
Oh. Well.
Okay. All right. I guess you're not in the mood to jam.
Well, I didn't want to jam. I wanted to beat the Zephyr.
All right. Let's, hold on.
What you do in a cup where you're standing right there? Your bathroom's like a few feet away.
It is. It's right around, it's out the door right to the right.
Huh. All right?
Yep.
Hit it.
Adam Curry, John C. Dvorak.
It's Sunday, September 6, 2020. This is your award-winning Gimbo Nation Media Assassination episode 1275.
This is No Agenda.
Hobnobbing with Hotep and broadcasting live from Opportunity Zone 33 here in the frontier of Austin, Texas, capital of the Drone Star State. In the morning, everybody. I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, where I'm using the Alaskan loophole to podcast into Canada, I'm John C. Dvorak.
It's Crackpot and Buzzkill in the morning.
Okay, do tell. Can we make some money on this loophole? Can we play songs, records?
No, you can get fined up to $750,000 and thrown in jail for 6 months. And apparently some guy in Kentucky was in Alberta, fined $750,000.
For doing what?
Well, apparently, they don't want Americans going into Canada because, we got the most COVID cases in the world.
We're Rona Central. In the world, I'll tell you. Yeah.
And they don't want to be infected by us. But by some international agreement, you can go into Canada if you're on your way to Alaska.
Oh, and so...
I'm driving to Alaska. What are you doing here, sir? You have any guns? No, I'm driving to Alaska. Oh, okay, well, you can do that. And so off you go on your merry way to Alaska. But
what did he do wrong?
People are cheating. They're not going to Alaska. They're vacationing in B.C., Alberta, and elsewhere.
Oh, no. Oh, that's just wrong. You can't break the rules like that.
I have a report.
Oh, shoot. Hold on a second. I was not prepared for that. Nice. Loophole. Love it.
But first, some breaking news. Tighter restrictions are coming to the Canada-U.S. border, and it's all about cracking down on Americans who've been using the so-called Alaska loophole to get into the country. Starting tomorrow, Canada Border Services Agency is implementing new rules. Among them, Americans hoping to get to Alaska can no longer do so through the Peace Arch border. They can only cross into BC through 3 points of entry: Abbotsford, Huntington, Osoyoos, or Kingsgate. They will be issued a hang tag to be attached to their rearview mirror that will stay there for the duration of the trip. They will also be barred from driving through national parks, leisure sites, and tourist locations. Anyone found breaking these rules risks a fine up to $750,000 and possible prison time.
You got a hang tag. Nice.
I think she says hang tang.
Well, I think she meant hang tag.
Maybe, I don't know. Do we know that for a fact? Is any Canadians in the chat room that can tell us whether there's such a thing as a hang tang?
Hang tang? I don't know. Hotep hang tang. There you go. It's your fault, by the way.
Yeah?
Yeah. Did you not invoke the name Hotep Jesus on the last show?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and Uncle Hotep. Those are the two guys. Those are the go-to guys.
You know what happened?
No.
Hotep Jesus DM'd me. He says, I want you on the show. How good is that? And wait for it. I'm on I don't know if he does it live or how he does it, but he's also doing Jason Whitlock the same night.
Oh, that would be dynamite.
I don't think it's a round table. That would be even better.
It's a mishmash. It's funny. I'm the one who plugs the guy. You get on the show. That's okay. But
I can say that I don't feel well, and you can go in my stead.
No, you do you're on a roll. You do the show.
Okay, all right.
You're on a roll, although they're not producing these things. How come the Rogan show is not out?
Monday.
Oh,
what do you mean? What is this? What is this accusation? I'm not producing things.
Back to work.
you are the worst,
Get
man.
Back on that treadmill.
Okay.
Well, Jason Whitlock is probably. I mean, that he's really outstanding with his complaining. Let's go. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No bonus.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is the official Zephyr economic report. We have 8 cars, no bonus, regular speed. Bitcoin currently 10,187.
It's a buying opportunity.
I'll say that thing crashed like crazy. Oh my!
Yeah, Jason Whitlock is really going after LeBron James.
Yeah. I understand why.
Because LeBron James is a dick?
Yeah, I think that might have something to do with it. Yeah, LeBron. Yeah. I mean, oh well. It must be the Chinese influence. I don't see why else he would be doing this.
Yeah, that's what emphasize that when you go on this show. Those guys will eat that up.
Hey, yeah. I'll just say, hey, I'm Hotep China. See what works.
Hotep
China. Ay. I had a lunch with the former New York banker who I haven't seen for a while.
Here we go. Report.
Yeah, I do have a report. Now, we were supposed to go wake surfing on Friday, which is our go-to hang since he has a boat. But we had electrical storm, lightning. I didn't mind the rain so much, but it was just crazy. It was
lightning in Texas is the best.
Yes, not great.
Second only to New Mexico.
Yeah. So I didn't want to be out on the lake with that going on in the Obama boat. Here's what I learned. First of all, UT, Texas, it is underreported, but COVID spread is rampant. Rampant. Because the kids don't give a crap. They are not following the rules, and there's a lot of testing, mandatory testing that's going on.
How many dead?
0. No one's really sick. I mean, I said, is anyone sick? No, I don't think so. Okay, well, what's the problem? What's the problem then? The main thing we talked about, which was quite surprising to me that he said this, and we of course talked some politics, and he mentioned, and I want to say as a side note, that he really does like President Trump's China policy, the tariffs, etc. He thinks that's a good thing. He also, strange for him to say it, really likes the immigration policy, thinks that's all good. But he was adamant.
Why is that strange for him to say it?
Because he's very, very, very liberal. No
borders, no nations? Liberal?
He would not say that in his own friend circle. Let's put it that way. So I don't know if he's changed his mind or if it's always been like that. I don't think we've ever discussed it, really. But that's not what really caught me, is and I saw something I hadn't seen before. Part of it may be because he does not own guns, will never own a gun, feels no one should own a gun, which we just have a fundamental disagreement there. It's not a problem. He said, it's all right, I got guns, you got no guns, fine.
You don't need a gun?
Not when you have me as a friend. No, you don't.
Oh, what, are you going to go rush over his house?
he can come over here. I'm not going to rush over to his house because that's what he's afraid of. He believes I think really in his heart and soul. And I don't know if, this is an international, banker of reputation who, probably sunk countries. I don't know. Hello, Greece. So I don't know if he knows fear, but I saw something a little new, or maybe I heard it in his voice. He says Trump cannot win. Trump cannot win. I said, well, I'll bet you that he does. I think the way I see it, and I pick the hits, I think he'll win the Electoral College, and he'll also win the popular vote. And so we have a $2 bet. But he says he can't win. I said, why? Because of the riots. So what are you talking about? Liberal cities will burn to the ground, he said. And he kept saying it. It's going to happen. I said, well, how do you know? Well, because that's what's going to happen. The liberal cities will burn to the ground if Trump wins. Now,
well, is that a bad thing?
you sound like the keeper. She's like, and well, that's a problem. Yeah, I don't want any city to burn. I don't want any kind of violence. But
Portland's already burning to the ground. I mean, I don't know. They even took down the moose.
And the thing that is starting to get weird is, these suburbs. Where was the most recent one? And all of a sudden, a Black Lives Matter protest just comes down the street en masse, and anyone dining outside is accosted and yelled at, and it just
there goes your vote. Good, that's a great strategy, Democrats.
It's real. I don't know who says they have control of it. I don't know. But gee.
Well, Biden said that's what Biden implied when he's one of his speeches.
It's yeah, and that thing that scares people. It's like, now I don't think that will happen in Austin because the lesson was learned in a very sad way. You can actually get shot and killed if you're doing a little more than just a peaceful protest. If, for instance, you're walking around with a gun, whether it's permitted or not, you raise that towards the wrong person, and you can get shot and killed. So I'm hoping that message was clear. We haven't really had any kind of rioting or anything. Certainly not since then.
Well, did you make it clear to the banker that this is really a minority of people, troublemakers?
Yeah, but he doesn't matter. He's very worried about it.
So he wants to get a gun now?
No.
In that he's in a walled off neighborhood in Austin. As rich people live there. There are a bunch of Karens, and there's a gate you got to go through to get into the place. Is that right?
His place, yes, but the general area where he lives is not gated, but it is pretty much what you describe.
Yeah, I know those places.
Yeah.
There's no Black Lives Matter people going in there moaning and groaning.
No, but that's exactly what is happening. We're seeing these Black Lives Matter protests going into suburban areas and moaning and groaning. That's what those two who had the guns, and we're pointing them at the peaceful protesters. This is happening everywhere. St. Louis, I think, is where
it's not happening everywhere by any means.
It is happening in selected theaters near you. And when I say theaters, I mean theaters of war, which is some suburbs. Yes, that's happening.
There's not a suburb around here where it's happening.
Well, no, they won't crap in their own actual bed. You live in the middle of Antifa Central. Berkeley.
I'm in the vicinity. And there's been some, you might make the claim that because they went to Libby Schaaf, the liberal mayor of Oakland, and they went to her house and they protested around there, that sort of thing. This is like, they're, which I think is shatting, as you like to use that term, in your own bed, because she's like runs the town and she's a liberal and she's a Democrat, and why are they in front of her place bitching and moaning?
All right, well,
I know
you don't see it. I understand. You also didn't see what I said when the lockdowns began. I said technology companies are going to keep their workers home. They don't want them to come back. You actually scoffed at me about that.
I don't think so.
Oh! I knew it. I knew I should have pulled a clip. Gosh darn it. Oh, well. I said crapping, not shatting.
You used the word shat.
No, I said crap. I said shh, and then I said crap. I didn't use shat. But okay.
Well, people, you're in the chat room. Get me the clip.
It doesn't matter. It's a show title now. It's all good with me.
Shat is the show title.
Shatting. It's a shat in, everybody. All right. I do have a couple of things COVID related that I believe we should
by the way, we got nothing from that report from the. I was hoping for some financial tips so we could invest in.
Oh, well, yes. Okay. I'm sorry. I did ask him. I didn't want to bring it up because I thought you would only find it annoying. I asked him about. Yeah, seriously, I'm not kidding. I thought you would find it annoying because it's about you were not interested in hearing it the last show, which is about the Fed now.
Oh, okay. You're right. You're dead on. You nailed it.
You're not interested.
I would find it annoying.
Well, the one thing he did is he pulled it apart really well. He said, whoever is flaunting this idea is bonkers because the whole principle of being able to do this is based on modern monetary theory to just have money you can create and put it anywhere you want. But then when everyone says, and it'll be pegged to the gold standard, he says that's where the whole thing falls apart. That makes no sense.
Yeah, I agree.
And I have to agree with that. I also did get a note from, just to finalize the topic, I got a note from a FedNow insider. And you're really seeing more and more that the dude's name Ben and Dudette's name Bernadette, they truly hold a lot of keys to our society. And they are extremely undervalued. I get notes from dudes named Ben at security companies. You know, that tells you enough about the security company. If they're telling me what. So I'm just, and by the way, I think it's important because they're really on the front line. But this is important as this anonymous.
They're taken for granted.
Yeah, big time.
You got a security company, you got a CEO, you got a bunch of dudes named Ben, one or two probably superstars that know what they're doing. And they are taken for granted, and the CEO thinks he knows everything. He doesn't know anything.
Never. They never do. Podfather, keep me anonymous. I am boots on the ground doing the work and an executive working in the payment and banking industry for over 15 years and have responsibilities for overseeing the payments programs of over 400 community banks, performing wire, ACH, check, cash, and card payments. I privately consult with the Federal Reserve and am publicly serving. I won't say where he's, but he's on some working groups, developing standards for the deployment of FedNow. Like any industry, the media doesn't understand, and reporting about payments is shat. He's using my words now. FedNow is not live and won't be until 2023. As a part of the FedNow, the Fed will be standing up what is called a universal directory or a federated directory. A universal directory would give an awareness of every account in the banking system of the United States and a much easier disbursement mechanism for government benefits and bailouts. A federated directory would leverage the banking system infrastructure through delegated standards and APIs. And without reading all of the rest of it, which I did put into the show notes, anonymized, they don't have their shit together. And they don't. Well, surprise, surprise.
I'm stunned by this new knowledge.
But he does say, if you want to talk where payments is heading, you are right. Cash is the enemy, and your identity will be your access mechanism for banking payments. Biometrics and, when possible, finger device printing will be used to authenticate you and allow you to perform transactions. We are more than 20 plus years out from that being mainstream. We still have checks, and the industry has been trying to kill those for over 20 years. So I'd like this counterbalance from him. I like it. I like it a lot.
Well, 20 years is a long time, and there's also still the element of, which is what happened in Berkeley. A couple of places had gone all cash.
Yeah.
Which is technically illegal, but but you can get away with it in a small area, and they go all cash. But then come the objections. The homeless won't be able to buy anything. The homeless. And the homeless problem is not going going away anytime soon. And the homeless, they don't have these mechanisms. They can't use them. They need cash. They ask for money on the street. You give them some money, they go buy something. The homelessness problem is the real monkey wrench in the works. It really screws things up for these guys, and they're idealistic. I think it's just a sick idea that everybody is now a number.
I will disagree in the vision of that. Looking at the way homelessness programs are run, I believe the homelessness government programs, certainly at a state level, would be incredibly happy to have a complete, and that's why many homeless have phones, Obama phone. You can still get a phone. I think they would be very, very happy to have complete tracking over their homeless clients. Remember, they're clients.
Oh, they'd love it.
And they will fill up their little smartphone, and they can always say, we want to fill up your phone, a homeless client. You got to come in. We got to talk to you. You got a vaccine to test or something, and then we'll fill up your digital wallet.
Yeah, we'll see.
Your homeless wallet. Oh, well, I know these people.
View.
Yeah, I do. Of that, I have a very grim view, and regardless of any type of FedNow system, we do have wire systems. We have the Zelle system, which I believe we even accept some payments.
No, we do not.
Good, because have you seen the terms of service?
I don't use Zelle, so no.
Oh, well, Zelle just showed up on my bank a long time ago, but one of our producers who had to opt in to use the service with his bank, he said, well, I put my no agenda hat on, and I figured I'd just go look at the terms of service. There are prohibited payments. The following types of payments are prohibited through the external transfer service. That's Zelle. And we have the right, but not the obligation, to monitor for, block, cancel, and/or reverse such payments. So they'll be monitoring. This is exactly what we're talking about, monitoring your payments. Payments to or from persons or entities located in prohibited territories, of course, are not allowed, but also payments that violate any law, statute, ordinance, or regulation, and payments that violate the restrictions on use of terms below. Payments related to, I'll just go through them, tobacco products, prescription drugs and services, narcotics, steroids, controlled substances, other products that present a risk to consumer safety, drug paraphernalia, ammunition, firearms, firearm parts or related accessories, weapons or knives regulated under applicable law, goods or services that encourage, promote, facilitate, or instruct others to engage in illegal activity, goods or services that are sexually oriented. Hello, webcam girls. Goods or services that promote hate, violence, racial intolerance, or the financial exploitation of a crime. Whew. Goods or services that defame, abuse, harass, or threaten others. Goods or services, you get the idea.
We get the picture, but guns, you can't buy guns. The Second Amendment allows you to buy guns.
Not through their
but service. These guys say no?
This is a no-fun payment system is what this is. No drink, no drugs, no guns, no hookers, no gambling.
What can you buy? A shirt?
Well, you can buy legal. I think you might be able to buy state lottery tickets. A shirt. Oh boy, yeah. And it will all be monitored.
Our bank has not allowed Zelle for some time. They may somehow a Zelle payment did get through about 3 or 4 months ago, and no one can tell me how or why. There was also a new, pop money is the main one that we can get that everyone can get access to, and it seems to be less restrictive. The other one is a guy came in, he's in today's list of donors. He got money through using a thing called X-Check.
X-Check?
Something like that. Yes, a whole new system. I'm talking to the bank about how did this happen? And
it just came in, X-Check just worked?
Yeah, it just worked. So
we'll have to find. Maybe it's from the X-Men.
It's got a Q at the end too. It's the main thing.
We are still locked down in Austin, Texas. Even though we moved up due to good behavior to stage 3, the stay-at-home orders will remain in place through December 8th. December.
Excuse me? What did you say?
I think I said December 8th, 3 days after Santa Claus.
Well, what's the date today?
Today is September 6th.
October. No. Are you telling me that... What?
Yep.
Oh, they'll lift it. They'll lift it. I'll bet money that they'll lift it way before December 6th.
I wouldn't take that bet. I think that's
I would take it
possible.
right after the election, the day after the election. It's lifted.
Yeah. See, I will not take that bet because I think you're right. And moreover, the keeper took me out for a birthday celebration Friday night, and she took me to Péché, which I had never been to in Austin. Peche apparently means sin in French. This place was hopping. It was filled to the brim. It's a very long restaurant, rectangular. So length is where they get it from. So they had, I guess they pretended like they used to have middle tables there or something, and so it was a little bit broader between the bar. The bar must have been 50 people sitting on it, not a single one socially distanced. It was so enjoyable to be back in a busy restaurant. It really was nice.
Social animals.
But everybody needs that. And so,
here's what happened. Here's what's going to happen. Your local TV nerd.
Oh yeah, probably.
This happened in San Jose at a bunch of these places.
Oh, gosh.
And so the local TV nerd, the Karen that works at the local station, whatever, you got 3 of them there, major stations, a couple of minor ones. The Karen will go in there, and then she's going to see this, and she's going to be reporting on it, and the owner's going to come running. I'm telling you how the report goes. I've seen these reports more than once. Oh, what's wrong? What's wrong? Oh, you're not social distancing, says the Karen, the reporter. And you just, no, well, we are. And then the guy goes in there, starts moving people around. It's an hilarious report when you see it.
Oh, gosh. Well,
and then the cops are asked about it, and, we didn't know.
It's a standard package.
And that's the end of it. You don't have that anymore. That place is done.
I sure hope not. Well, it will be done after Rogan goes there. I told you, you got to go there, man. It's great. I'm sure after he goes, it'll turn out to be a bad place. Not socially distanced. So we still have a lot of issues with numbers and data, testing in particular. And in Memphis, this story cropped up over the weekend, which kind of says it all. And even though I felt this report was reasonably well covered, they kind of just take whatever the health department locally says for what it is and say, that's what they said. This is the dead woman who got a positive COVID test.
Troy Whittington was sure surprised when he opened up a letter this week that came from the Shelby County Health Department.
I'm just having a hard time understanding how they can say someone has COVID-19 when they're not even alive.
Troy Whittington is baffled. This letter arrived from the Shelby County Health Department for his mother, Sandra Whittington. The letter says she's been diagnosed as COVID positive and needs to isolate. But according to her obituary, the 66-year-old died February 16th. That was weeks before the first case of COVID-19 was even detected in Shelby County.
It's been 6 months, almost 7, since she passed away. There was no testing that was done at that time. On her death certificate, it was stated what the cause of death was, and it was not COVID-19. It was COPD.
Whittington says when he called the health department, he was told she took a COVID-19 test June 20th, which was clearly impossible.
I tried to call the health department this morning, asked them why this is going on. She said she would have to get a supervisor. She was sorry for the mistake, or that she couldn't tell me any information until she got a supervisor, and I haven't heard back from them.
Whittington says this situation makes him question not only the Shelby County Health Department's COVID-19 statistics, but statistics across the country.
I would just like for the health department to be more accurate.
Whittington would also like to point out if his mom had been alive and tested positive in June, why did it take so long for the notification to go out?
We're talking 2 months later, she needs to be quarantined for 10 days. Well, we've already got 60 days from the time of the test to get the letter out to her, which is unacceptable.
A spokesperson for the Shelby County Health Department says around 5 o'clock this evening, the department director called the Whittington family to apologize. We're told protocols have been put in place so something like this won't happen again.
The protocols are in place. Never happen again. Protocols. That is super disturbing. And the thing I don't like about the report is after he says, well, she had COPD. Even the last little waveform of the D was edited in that report. So I'm thinking he said something else that might have been, maybe it was, I mean, COPD, if it's even written weird, in handwriting, it may look like COVID. I don't know. It's just, I didn't like that they chopped that off. It could have been just crappy local editing. Nothing bad, nothing particular about local editing. Anyway, that just bothered me. Then we have a real study from UCLA-Stanford. UCLA-Stanford? Is that right? UCLA-Stanford? Yeah, I think it is.
No.
Let's see.
UCLA is University of California.
Yeah, Los Angeles. Yeah.
Why would they be doing anything with Stanford?
I might have mislabeled. This is, let's listen.
A new study from medical scientists at UCLA and Stanford University.
Oh, and Stanford. UCLA and Stanford University.
It finds the likelihood of contracting the coronavirus is much, much lower than previously thought. The study, published in late June, says the current probability of becoming infected, going to the hospital, or even death from COVID-19 is, quote, an extremely rare event. The study goes on to say that people are vastly overestimating their chances of getting sick and going to the hospital, especially here in the U.S. As part of the study, doctors reviewed public cases of infection in 100 of the largest counties across the nation. They found that an average person in an average county has a 1 in 3,836 chance of getting infected with coronavirus, and that's without wearing a mask or doing any social distancing. Even the odds of being hospitalized are vanishingly small, even for someone who's in the at-risk category. For an average person between 50 and 64 years old, the chances of getting the virus and needing hospitalization are 1 in 852,000. And for that same person who's at risk, the chances of dying from coronavirus are 1 in 19.1 million. And those figures were for the last week of May, when deaths from coronavirus were 16 times higher than they were last week.
What a kicker. What a kicker. Come on. That's CDC. Or are they not to be trusted now? Now CDC is not to be trusted, I guess, because, they come out with something like that.
Well, this is where I ran one of their charts the other couple newsletters ago. It shows that, it shows the big lump and then a little lump and then nothing, which is where we are now. Yeah. But we can't do that. So we use cumulative numbers. That's why we have 6 million people with, that have it. Supposedly never got rid of it. I guess you don't get rid of it. And now, of course, we have these reports where it's getting worse. Now India's gotten into the 4 million club. Let's play this COVID 4 million in India.
Okay.
Health officials are reminding Americans to remain vigilant about the spread of COVID-19 on this long holiday weekend. There are now more than 6.2 million confirmed infections in the U.S. and more than 188,000 deaths. Globally, the death toll from COVID-19 has reached 875,000, with more than 26.6 million confirmed infections, according to researchers at Johns Hopkins University. In India, confirmed infections topped 4 million today, and the country reported a new record in daily cases. India now joins just Brazil and the U.S. in crossing the 4 million mark. The jump to 4 million comes just 13 days after India reached 3 million cases.
Oh, my goodness.
By the way, he says he uses the term, this is a substitute weekend guy. He uses the term long holiday weekend. So are there short holiday weekends? This is a long holiday weekend.
Yeah,
what's a long holiday weekend as opposed to a holiday weekend?
I think it would have said the long weekend holiday. No, yes.
No, that's what he said. Long holiday weekend. I heard it the first time. I heard it this time.
May I make a suggestion? I don't know where the guy's from. That is a very European way of saying it.
Oh,
yeah, long face weekend, or we'd say.
Okay, well that explains it then.
Yeah, long vakantie weekend. Yeah, I think it's maybe a European thing. Maybe, where's he from? Russia? PBS Russia?
Right. You guys from PBS. China, come on, get a clue.
I'm sorry. I got it all wrong again. Darn it.
It's always China. I got a couple other COVID clips I'd like to get out of the way. Well, let's play the what the hell?
What?
Oh, no, okay.
What?
I'm sorry. I'm reading, because I get all these C-SPAN clips. But COVID, Spain, the fresh air in Spain. Here's a clip that kind of follows up on your UCLA clip, showing that we've just been led astray the whole time.
Now, as COVID infections are on the rise in Europe, and Spain is believed to be the worst hit. In Madrid and Barcelona, infection rates have soared since the lockdown was lifted right before the summer. Well, seeking better treatments, one hospital in the Catalan capital has been finding out if short trips to the beach can help COVID-19 patients.
Oh.
Francisco España has spent 2 months in the ICU. His medical team is now trying out a new treatment, the kind that most patients dream of. The sunlight and fresh sea breeze actually work. They help patients.
De los paseos curativos
In Madrid, there can be no visits to the beach, obviously. Here, concern is even worse than in Barcelona. 1/3 of all infections have been diagnosed in the capital. A set of restrictions will be brought back in on Monday. Major cities are hit hard. Among suspected reasons for this, people returning to work, sometimes without applying social distancing. Spaniards fear the return to school next week may push the epidemic further, with everyone dreading mass infections and a new lockdown.
Okay, now you have to visualize this report. They pushed this guy out of the hospital in the bed with these, with the hanging bags of saline and the rest.
Yeah.
With masks on his face and 3 or 4 nurses, and they got this guy on the boardwalk on this. He looks like he should be in the ward.
Oh, man.
It's very funny, the image. But he liked it. He enjoyed the
ride.
Air.
He enjoyed the ride.
It was the fresh air. I mean, come on, people.
Fresh air. I'm Terry Gross. This is a very I wouldn't say disturbing. It's puzzling, and no one really has answers. The World Bank, they publish a lot of things. So at the World Bank, you've just got to say it's part of the elitist globalist infrastructure. I mean, that's pretty clear.
I don't think that's even an issue.
Yes. So someone found a page on their website, an archive page from 2018. It's the worldbank.org website. I'm looking at it right now. And it is a list of COVID-19 diagnostic test instruments and apparatus imports by country. In the year 2018.
Do we have the absolute? Do we know for an absolute fact that this page was put up in 2018?
No, I do not believe I can prove that. What it does say is that the classification reference based on COVID-19 medical supplies list, second edition, is prepared by World Customs Organization and the World Health Organization. So, but they actually also have, I found they go back to 2017. And let me see, the United States in 2018 imported 1 million. This is interesting. Oh, the value. What is the number? Hold on. Well, the trade value was $1,620,675.95. It doesn't have a quantity. Interesting. China is the top. They had 135 million of these diagnostic test instruments and apparatus. And the first thing that crossed my mind was, well, maybe there was a COVID-18. We've never really talked about it. COVID-19. No. Maybe they do it every year. If it's this year, here's your COVID-18, COVID-19. I don't know how this happens. And here's the other thing that bothers me about it. I saw this link posted on social media. Someone else sent it to me, and it has the same subject line or query with the link. Riddle me this. Or can anyone explain this? When you find something, that feels like that was planted to me.
When you see that sort of thing, it's usually planted.
Yeah, it's bothersome.
Yeah, it may be, the whole thing may be a scam.
But I'd like to know. I just want to, I know we have producers who understand this stuff. There's one, maybe this will help. Additional product information, instruments used in clinical laboratories for in vitro diagnosis, colorimetric and tidal CO2 detector. Size is compatible with child and adult endotracheal tube, single use. Someone out there knows what the heck I just said.
Well, we don't.
Anyway, that's just another one of those things that's floating around. You gotta pay attention.
We don't even need to deal with this sort of screwball speculation when we have this study from UCLA, and we have a lot of real information that just gets out there and then pushed aside. There it is, another study that proves that, like, for example, hydroxychloroquine, nope, over to the side.
No good.
Just over to the side. And so it's like, it's astonishing to me the way this has been.
Well, we're getting everyone's getting sloppy because they're tired and worn down. You know, this is the way it's intended.
Well,
if it was planned,
it'll all come out. It'll be books written about, as I've said before.
Yeah,
there will be books written about how this was just a giant fiasco.
It'll come out when we pay for those with our digital FedNow wallet. That's when the books will come out. There's another study. Extremely disturbing. So disturbing, Glenn Greenwald Raff from The Intercept went ahead and did a video about it.
Data points from a very recent study published by the Center for Disease Control in mid-August, that surveyed thousands of Americans at the end of June and asked them a variety of questions designed to gauge trends and developments in physical and mental health. And probably the most striking of the statistics was the one that was produced by the following question, quote, "Have you seriously considered suicide in the past 30 days?" A question that was asked among people around the United States from June 24th to June 30th of 2020. Of people 18 to 24, people in the 18 to 24 age range, 25.5%, or essentially 1 out of every 4 Americans in that age group, said that yes, they have seriously considered, not fleetingly or as a fantasy, but seriously considered suicide, not in the past year, but in the past 30 days.
That's disturbing.
Wow.
25%. Another CDC study. CDC. I talked to Christina about this, and she said, well, she doesn't have suicidal thoughts, but she says what we are going through as young people. Now, it's a little different.
She's still living in Rotterdam.
Yes, in Rotterdam, where she is, I think, technically very locked down or reasonably locked down because of, Rotterdam is some hotspot. Don't go to Rotterdam, whatever you do. She's 30, so she's a little older than perhaps some of these potential or these suicide-minded children. She says, well, Dad, there is one thing we talk about a lot, and it is definitely millennials, the older millennials. She says, we're going through a grieving process. We all recognize life as we knew it is dead, and we're grieving over that life, and some of them are doing it together, but they're discussing it, and they are realizing that life is over. And she says it really feels like grieving, and we're all going to get over it, but maybe not. But this is, that shit's never considered. And what do we know? You and I, we are old dudes. We don't know anything about how the kids feel. But mourning?
Well, that's why we have these kids to ask.
I know. But they should have asked before they locked him down. Now,
no one's asking nobody.
Yeah. So they're
locking them down.
So the chat show continues in Australia. Oh my goodness.
Yes, I have a clip on this.
And I just
from
want
France 24, which is a nice long clip.
Yeah, before we play it.
Ooh, this is interesting. 7.
What?
Well, the coastal just went by going the other direction, which is unusual at this hour. 8 cars.
I thought you found like some news item, like, oh my goodness, breaking news. Oh, I see the intercoastal going along there. All right,
I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
Go on with your
okay. It's okay. My spiel, really? My spiel. First, a quick email from Boots on the Ground producer Mitch in Melbourne. Melbourne is effed. 2 more weeks of stage 4 lockdown, and only coming out of it if we have 5 or less infections a day. People are starting.
This is ludicrous. They got numbers that are so low. This is like a test of the public's will.
Hello? They're going through the exact same script? The exact same script?
Except for the fact that their numbers are ridiculously low.
Well, they don't fake them as good as we did, clearly. We had an organized protest this week on Sunday. Our premier, Daniel Andrews, Dirty Dan, conveniently scheduled his roadmap out of the COVID the day after the protest, so me and a few other people made sure the protest was canceled so there was no ammo for old Dan. Very smart. He made a dick out of himself today when he extended it for at least another 2 weeks when he didn't have the excuse of the protesters. We would have had 10,000 show up, but only 200 ended up rocking up. I'm getting a little pissed off with people saying Victorians are a bunch of pussies for not protesting. We are strategic. We see the game being played. We won't be played. Mitch, I feel what you're going through, and there have been multiple producers who've said this is triggering my PTSD for previous experiences they've had, and yes, you are now going through what we've gone through, and you're going to be okay. I mean, in general, you're going to be okay, but you just have to give into it and wait for your opportunity, and it's all going to come down to the numbers. Actually, I have a report, and then we'll go to your Victoria report. This is Andrew's announcement of the continued lockdown.
But we begin tonight with the latest news on Victorian Premier Daniel Andrews' exit strategy. The Premier has announced Stage 4 lockdown will be extended by a fortnight from the 28th of September if and only if cases in metropolitan Melbourne have dropped to between 30 to 50 a day. Some workplaces will reopen along with childcare. From the 26th of October, if there are less than 5 new cases a day, and that's not a situation even New South Wales is in on many days,
5 cases?
The curfew will no longer apply, and there will be no restrictions on reasons to leave the house. Only then would public gatherings be increased to 10 for people outdoors, and only then would hospitality recommence. And then it's only from the 23rd of November when all retail will be open and visitors at home can be up to 20 people.
Caller, can you turn down your radio? Thank you. Even Sydney has days with more than 5 positives, 5 cases. Now, you guys are getting a shafting here. Now,
we give 1,000 a day.
1,000 dead a day?
No.
Yes.
Well,
yes.
But what's the 300 million people? You're going to get 1,000 dead a day anyway. What's the normal death rate on a daily basis?
Don't take away that we're number one.
No, I know we're number one.
It's some crazy number like 8,000 a day. And that's what normal is. And we're now at 1,000. I'm telling you, it's the total number. So this is COVID only, but I think we're maybe at 6,000 or 7,000 total number. It's less than normal. Statistics. All right, is this France 24, this report?
Yeah, France 24.
Protests against coronavirus restrictions have been springing up around the world, with varying groups such as anti-vaxxers and even the far right taking part. One of the latest such rallies is taking place in Melbourne, Australia this weekend. The state of Victoria is the worst affected in the country and has enacted strict measures to try to curb a second wave of infections. Solange Mogin has more.
Chanting the words freedom, these protesters in Melbourne, Australia think that wearing a mask is an infringement on their individual rights. In anger, regardless of a collective good that masks may provide in combating the coronavirus, hundreds of protesters came out to say
Stop the clip for a second. You can back it up. Tell me this woman doesn't sound like the character on The Family Guy who's the Takanawa, the Asian reporter. Got that monotone style.
Yeah,
she sounds just like her.
It's very exciting reporting.
Australia think that wearing a mask is an infringement on their individual rights. In anger, regardless of a collective good that masks may provide in combating the coronavirus, hundreds of protesters came out to say that they'd had it. With nearly 5 weeks of strict lockdown measures, nightly curfews, and mask requirements. Some protested peacefully, eager to be able to leave their homes again or travel outside the state of Victoria. Others, irate, slew insults at the police as the officers arrested protesters. Such rallies are thought to have been organized by a mishmash of online groups, many of them peddling conspiracy theories. For the Premier of the state of Victoria, the lockdown measures have helped bring a massive coronavirus spike under better control. But he said the state and the nation are not out of the woods yet.
Absolutely. So no one is really advocating to open and be open for just a few weeks. And if you opened at these levels, that is exactly what would happen. It would be 5 minutes of sunshine and then a third wave that arguably will be even more devastating.
Third wave
than the second.
With case numbers dropping but still worrisome, Australian officials are expected to announce Sunday an incremental roadmap for lifting lockdowns in Victoria. Yet protesting Melbourne residents may still have to wait many weeks or months for freedom as they knew it to return.
Let's try and give some useful advice to our brothers and sisters in Victoria, specifically in Melbourne. This happened, we have states, it's not quite the same, but you have a premier, we have a governor. New York was one of the, it's kind of similar, I guess, the New York lockdown, the degree that it went to, the harshness of it all, the fines. Now, we didn't have the cops being violent with people, but it was pretty obvious. What happened in New York is people just left. And we also had the state border shut down for a little bit. They tried that. That didn't really work.
Yeah, it's impossible.
Yeah. So, but what ultimately did happen is New York is just now on the precipice of wilting to death. Everybody left. Not that luxury is not the same, I don't think, for people. It's not the same type of business city, Melbourne. But I don't think that the city itself.
Well, you couldn't go from. New York had. Here we've got a lot of options. From New York, you could go to Connecticut. You could go to the little states. And most of them went to Florida.
Yeah,
some of them.
Long Island and Florida. That's pretty much. And New Jersey.
You can go here. You can go there. Melbourne. Where are you going to go?
Yeah. Well, you can go lots of places, but you can't actually leave. But you can leave the city. You're not allowed to. You can't go with more than one person. Can't be found more than 5 kilometers from your home. They will tackle you, roust you, throw a bag over your head.
Yeah, and club you.
Now
like a baby seal.
Yeah. It's the Australian way. The pregnant woman who was arrested at home for posting, inciting a protest on the face bag. Very odd story, as it turns out. Several Australian producers, and I think this was somewhat viral as well, noticed that this police officer who came in, handcuffed her, arrested her, informed her she was breaking the law. He has been seen in at least one other video report of arresting someone who's not being compliant. The problem people have is his police badge is the wrong color. It's yellow. It should be orange. I know nothing about that. They find it suspicious. Could be what happened after this pregnant lady was arrested, and the viral video perhaps makes it even more interesting as she was interviewed for all the news stations.
So the police did end up being quite nice, which wasn't on camera. They did end up taking the handcuffs off, let me get dressed. They were quite nice down at the police station. Like I said, they were just kind of had to do their job at the moment and stuff. They said they weren't really happy about having to arrest me or anything, but...
All right, I'm going to stop it there. So they were very clear with the hands behind the back, you're going right now, on camera, which of course shut off at some point. And now she's saying, well, actually, they did let me get dressed, which meant they uncuffed her. And they said, wow, we're just doing our job, mate. Then was that all just posing for the camera because it was being filmed, or were they worried that you were very violent with your pregnant belly and your pajamas?
Or was the whole thing a hoax and she never went into any police stations?
Let's continue listening.
That's what's happening at the moment in our state. So
what was your reason for putting up the post and wanting to do the silent protest? Why did you do that?
Well, for one, sorry about my bimbo moment. I didn't realise that I wasn't allowed to.
So... interesting. And any woman who said that in America would be vilified if you said, sorry about my bimbo moment, but I didn't know I'm sorry, I didn't know you could actually do that. Which I'm sure she didn't know, but it was just, okay. So you learned, didn't you? Could be a teaching moment here that they're sending us.
And I did kind of want to protest in Melbourne.
No, so I may have misunderstood it. Might have said blonde moment, but I heard bimbo. Anyway.
I did kind of want to protest in Melbourne, but obviously I knew I wasn't allowed to do that. So I just wanted to feel like I was doing something, standing up for human rights. And, I'm just a passionate person, and I'm sick of the lockdowns. I'm sick of hearing about suicides. I personally lost my job, and just sick of watching the economy collapse. It's getting to the point where, I wanted to peaceful protest, and I don't want anyone going to jail or anyone getting hurt or, anything like that. So, I'm not going to sit here and encourage protesting. It's sad though. I wish I could, but I don't want to encourage it and then watch people be hurt. If they do go and protest, if there's forceful arrests and stuff like that. So
if you thought that wasn't enough messaging, there's a kicker.
I don't even know. It's just so emotional. Like, I'm just baffled.
Would you still go and protest if you could?
No, I'm too scared now, and it's fear-mongering. That's how I feel.
What?
I didn't understand what she said.
They said, okay, it's important what she said at the end, because I think that kind of shows that it may be hoaxy. Listen to the press.
Even know. It's just so emotional. Like, I'm just baffled.
Would you still go and protest if you could?
So do you think it's wrong to go protesting? Should you go protesting? Should people go protesting?
No, I'm too scared now, and it's fear-mongering. That's how I feel.
I'm too scared now. It's fear-mongering. Was that the truth that just came out at the very end because they've told her to say this?
I don't know. The whole thing is sketchy.
Well, thanks for your in-depth analysis.
I have no analysis. I mean, I think the woman this whole thing was, they like to play act there. Maybe the whole thing was staged.
That's what I'm thinking now.
But I'll say there's something else that came up because, you start watching this is going on for too long. I mean, don't forget it was supposed to be over in Easter.
Yeah. I sure
thought playing to public. I would like when they did the first report about the few people, there was more than a couple hundred, by the way, that were protesting in Melbourne, because I looked at the number of people and I could estimate a crowd over 200. It was close to 1,000 people. There's a woman, the Takanawa woman, the woman, the monotone, she says there's all these conspiracy theories. I'd like to start listening to the conspiracy theories at this point.
Well, I'm glad you asked for that. Australia has a satirical show, which is called Mad as Hell. It's on ABC, the Aussie ABC. And they make fun of politicians and politics. And, it's a grand tradition in the United Kingdom. A lot of European countries have these really good. Remember Spitting Image? Spitting Image was great.
Well, Canada also had this hour has 20 minutes or whatever, and that was one of these very harsh political analysis comedy shows.
Right. So Mad as Hell did in the most recent episode, they had a sketch. I think it's for a hardware store. And here it is.
We get a lot of nutcases coming in here and ranting at our staff about all sorts of wacko conspiracy theories, which I admit a lot of it goes beyond my training as a colour matcher at the paint counter, but we are here to help.
Illuminati solar garden lights, $4.95. Flat earth movers, $20,000.
Bunnings recognises many of our customers are concerned about protecting themselves from Bill Gates' mind-controlling 5G global pedophile rays while they might be outside sanding a deck or chlorinating a pool.
Pocket edition of the 1948 UN Charter of Human Rights, $28.57. Self-sealing arguments, $3.
Whatever nonsense you believe, we've got you covered like chemtrails on a crop circle.
Anti-Vax Power 7 pet barrel reverse vacuum cleaner, 5 for $1,000. False flags, $8.51.
And if you find a better price, it's probably a hoax, but as you people keep saying, do your own research.
Chemtrails in a crop circle. That's a great line.
Yeah.
So I guess it's hey, shut up. Shut up. With any ideas you got, you're an idiot. Go to the hardware store, you morons. Sheesh.
Actually, I don't know what to say.
Is it possible that the premier of Victoria,
premier is the word you want to use?
Premier?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. It's the pronunciation of the word I want to use. Premier. Do you think that he is maybe the equivalent of Andrew Cuomo?
Oh, that's a great... I'm going to give you 2 points for that.
You wait for it, you might give me clip of the day.
Listen, mate. If brains were taxed, you'd get a refund. This is not the time for you to be interjecting, brother.
This is Liberal member of Victoria Parliament who is railing against Dan Daniels with his opinion.
I think you should just calm down and listen, because at this point in time, the state is on its knees, and the weapon-grade idiocy we get from people like this, I don't even know where you're the member for, but I'm sure you won't be there next time. But what I do know, Mr. Speaker, is that this state is on its knees, and the morons we get in this government who blame everyone else, they blame Victorians, they blamed hospital workers, they tried to blame the federal government, they even tried to blame overseas governments. They blame everyone but themselves. Take some responsibility for what is happening in this state, for what they're doing to our children, to our elderly. Take some responsibility. We say to the Premier, no, he's more interested in what he tweets.
Excuse me. I heard him say Premier, not Premier.
You're an American, you say Premier.
We say to the Premier, no, he's more interested in what he tweets. He's more interested in what he puts on Facebook, because for the Premier of this state, it's about him. The whole show's about him. His government's about him. It's not about them, these backbenchers and their passengers. It's all about him. It's always ever been about him. It's not about anyone else. And that is the problem we have in Victoria, that the Premier of the state today sees this all about him and his legacy and his image. And that's why we've got a problem that we do, because he wouldn't accept support from the federal government when it was offered, because that would not be befitting with his masculinity to say, oh no, I'll take someone else's help, because it's all about him, because Dan the man can solve everything he thinks.
Dan the man.
And solve it he did not. Create a problem he did, that we're all paying for, that our economy will pay for decades.
Sounds like Cuomo to me. Remember, he was always, I did it all right. I'm perfect. Here's my poster that I made to show you the great path we made. His show every day, his TV show.
Yeah. There's some, I can see where you get that parallel from. Clip of the day. Hardly.
No, okay, I shouldn't have said that, yes. All right, jeez. You get so grouchy sometimes.
I have clip of the day coming.
Oh, I understand the problem now. Okay. Let's move to vaccines for a moment. We have the Russian vaccine that is out, is a problem. It can't be right. This is, screw these guys.
It's Russian. How could it be right?
This is no good. Fauci don't like.
It's just a shot of vodka.
Fauci don't like. Bloomberg television, which is where you want to get your actual vaccine information, because they have to kind of find out what's going to work and what won't, so people can make informed business decisions, or if they are out to deliberately misinform, and then you can get that kind of knowledge as well. This is a interview, short piece with a Russian investment manager. I think he handles one of the big Russian funds, about the Russian vaccine.
There's damaging reputation of the vaccine, sure, but I mean, you call it Sputnik. I mean, there is the idea that...
Yeah, this is I forgot to mention. It's their Sputnik moment, because once again, they beat America. They beat us into space, and they beat us with the vaccine.
You want to get out there and you want to be first to then say that Russia is first. Dr. Anthony Fauci, who the majority of the U.S. listens to when it comes to the virus, says, I do hope that the Chinese and the Russians are actually testing the vaccine before they're administrating the vaccine to anyone, because claims of having a vaccine ready to distribute before you do can be very challenging, very difficult. I mean, what's your response to something like that? You move too fast, you cut corners, there's going to be problems.
Well, I think it's a very uneducated comment by Mr. Fauci, and we respect him as a deep professional, but of course Russia tests this approach extensively, China does as well. And we had the same debate in vaccines in 50s and 60s, and, you know, when Russia was criticized, actually somebody in the United Nations said, trust us, we love our children and our families as much as you do. So this vaccine has been tested extensively. It will be tested again on several thousand people. We use also a very proprietary testing tool that allows us to measure very efficient antibodies that are being generated that attack this part of coronavirus. So basically, it will be extensively additionally tested over the next couple of months, but mass vaccination in Russia will start in October. And I think it's important, it's a responsible move to make sure that our people are safe, our economy is back on track. We're offering this to also other countries. We received more than 1 billion doses requests from 20 other countries, and we expect to produce them with 5 countries that will be our partners in producing Russian vaccine. So there is major momentum, and I think the world will see that Russia really played a huge role in fighting coronavirus, which is a joint struggle.
Okay. Well, back home, in the Sputnik moment, we're having trouble. We have to slow down our phase 3 trial. We don't have the right people. We got a problem. Houston, slow it down, slow it down, slow it down.
Hey, Carl, well, so much attention being paid to the speed of enrollment in these large vaccine trials for COVID-19. Moderna and Pfizer, of course, in the lead, having both started their vaccine trials in late July. Moderna CEO Stéphane Bancel telling me that the company is slightly slowing the enrollment in their large phase 3 COVID-19 trial in order to ensure participation from minority communities who are most at risk of the disease. Now, Moderna has updated its numbers as of Friday and is expected to update again after the close today. Pfizer CEO said yesterday they've enrolled 23,000 of 30,000 people, so they appear to be ahead of Moderna. Moderna saying in particular they have not enrolled enough people from the Black and African American communities. About 7% of those enrolled so far are from that community, and we've seen from the data that the Black community faces not just greater risk of getting COVID-19, but of having more severe disease when they do get COVID-19. So
why don't they just go into the Black community? That's what she keeps calling it. I'm sure you can, it's a zip code, and just force it on them. There's a reason why the Black community is not turning out in droves for your vaccine. It's called intelligence. It's not stupid.
They don't trust them.
Of course not.
They should just go into the prisons. That's what they've used to do. Or the army. If you're a soldier, you have to do what they tell you. And
soldier for sure.
Yeah. So there's plenty of members of the Black community that could be recruited that way. This whole thing.
Recruited. Well, I love how it's now a race. Well, they've got these many Black people in the trial. Oh, looks like Moderna's moving ahead with by a nose length. They've got more Black people, and the Black community is in danger. NPR did a piece, which is your beat, but someone sent it to me, about the vaccine trials. And throughout the whole interview, did not ask the obvious question between the placebo group and the vaccine group.
But for now, they're sticking with a larger trial, 30,000 people. Half of them get the real vaccine. Half of them get an injection with basically nothing in it. What happens then?
You wait. You wait for what are called primary endpoints.
These trials will use as a primary endpoint laboratory-confirmed COVID disease.
That was Holly Janes again. She says, so, okay, if you get sick, you go and get tested to make sure that it was COVID and not something else. And you're looking to see if there are at least 50% fewer cases in the vaccinated group compared to the control placebo group.
So my question would be, were those people wearing masks? Were they hanging out? Were they social distancing? Were they having sex with the spouses or strangers? I mean, there's so many questions. You just throw them out there and just one or the other? We're really not getting any information about this.
No, these journalists today just don't seem... There's obvious questions to be asked, and they never get asked. And you can blame it on TV a little bit, because we don't have time for all that crap. We just got to get this story out there. Can I report on something again?
Yes, please.
Train-wise?
Yeah, of course. It's important.
There has been a freight train going by loaded to the gills with cargo containers, probably 1,000 cars that had, and they were full. And they had 3 engines at the front and then some pusher engines in the middle. This train was so long. Mm-hmm. And it was lugging along because these cargo containers were full. So there's stuff coming in from China. These are all Chinese. This is a Chinese route right in front of the down the hill.
You're part of the Belt and Road?
I look like it. It's part of the Belt and Rail.
Oh my God! Woo! Listen to that horn!
I would say there's no. If there was a slowdown, that slowdown's over. Looking at this load that just the load
it's the
that
whole
just
load,
went by.
The whole load. Fauci had an operation for a removal of a polyp on his vocal cord.
Has he talked since?
Yes, he has an interview, and I pulled a piece from it because there's a kicker at the end.
How did it feel? How are you doing? I mean, because for me, I was off for 6 weeks, and I wasn't allowed to talk for almost 2 weeks. But you're back on the horse.
Yeah, but well, I think I probably should have done it your way rather than my way. So I had the surgery on a Thursday, and the ENT surgeon told me essentially don't utter a word until Sunday. And then Monday, he said you could talk for maybe 5-minute intervals in a row, not back to back, bunch of emergency, catastrophic, White House related, I guess the right word, crises that I had to get involved
such
in
a hero.
Animated discussion, and then I kicked myself after that.
Oh, he's such a hero. With disregard for his own health, he went into the health crises
because it didn't feel 100% great the way it did 5 days after the surgery. So now I'm pulling back.
Did you know that there was something going on?
Generally, over the years, because I give a lot of lectures, more than I really should, I generally rest my voice for a while, and when you do that, I get the full component back. But that wasn't the case this time.
He believes a combination of having the flu in December and inflamed trachea and then nonstop work once the pandemic hit may be to blame.
I want to stop here.
Sounds pretty dubious to me.
Wait a minute. Does the flu vaccine not work on Dr. Fauci? He had the flu. He had the flu.
Yeah.
Did he get the vaccine? It gets worse.
He did.
Listen, this is the nation's top expert. He's going to tell you all the remedies he's tried.
By the time I got to March, it was clear that my voice was shot because I would wake up in the morning and do, the Today Show live. and it would be like I had a frog in my throat, no matter how much I gargled with salt, how much I drank a hot soup or a hot coffee. When I would get in front of the TV, I couldn't get my normal voice.
Huh.
Doesn't he have medication? Is there nothing medical science can do? He's doing salt water? Chicken soup?
Interesting.
Chicken soup?
Yeah.
I know.
Well, now he's still talking. His voice sounds the same with polyps usually.
I think he's just explaining why he was told to shut up and go sit on the sidelines for a while. And now he's saying it again.
For something else.
Yeah, now he's saying it again. Like, well, I'm going to have to be quiet again now because I kind of overdid it. Okay.
He didn't have to be. You can still go to the meetings and write stuff down. You don't have to talk yak like he does. Something's up.
Yeah. Yes. By
the way, I will mention that I was during my heyday of giving a lot of public.
Oh my goodness. The heyday of doing a lot of public. That's too bad. He dropped out at that very moment. That's very odd. Come on, he'll come back. Hello. What has gone wrong with him this time? That was very odd. Didn't like how that ended. At all. Rolling blackout? No, he doesn't get them, he says. He is adamant. And I didn't even bring it up today. I didn't bring it up because I know what he'd say. Not around here. It's not happening.
When during my heyday of giving a lot of public... When during my heyday, I mentioned that I was... When during my heyday...
Okay, we'll do it there.
By the way, I will mention that I was...
Okay. Oh, what happened to him? Come on, buy it. Oh, here he comes. Connecting. Oh, rolling blackout?
No, I was just, I'm not sure what happened.
Okay, hold on a second. I gotta put you down. Down to 4.
It was almost, I couldn't get reconnected like I normally do.
It's rolling blackouts, man. It rolls across, some router goes out, and everything has to be rerouted.
That would actually do that.
Yeah, I think that's a real possibility. Now, you were about to tell a story. I'll let you hear what you were saying. Well,
by the way, I will mention that I was, during my heyday of giving a lot of public...
Okay, pick it up from there.
Giving a lot of public speeches, I was introduced to a homeopathic product out of Brazil. When I was in Brazil, I got this. Brazil is, a lot of people don't realize, is probably half the country relies on homeopathic medicine.
Mm-hmm.
And they have homeopathic drugstores all over the place. And they're not like our, energy pill stores. They're just like a regular pharmacy.
They're no Alex Jones.
And they have all these crazy things that you can get. And everybody knows about homeopathic medicine there, and they all believe in it. So I was introduced to this kind of a salted, dried ginger root. Little bitty pill like thing but it's actually a piece of ginger, and you chew on it, and you could talk for days with these things. It was quite phenomenal.
Was there any coca leaf wrapped around it? If you could really talk for days,
that would be in Peru, or probably
little bonus.
You can get that in Peru, but no, it just was this. And I still have a batch of these somewhere.
Huh.
They're just fantastic. If you have public speaking, you can't, you get hoarse after a while. You take these things, and geez.
Well,
but so I mean, there's elements there are things you can get. I'm sure Fauci knows about homeopathic methodologies.
I don't think he could ever admit to it. That would be a huge violation of his
chicken soup's okay though.
Hypocrite oath.
Yeah, the hypocrite oath. I like that.
Now, if there's something up with him, the only thing, or the immediate thing that comes to mind, is the new doctor on the scene, Scott Atlas. This is Trump's new guy. So maybe Fauci is not maybe. It seems that Atlas is the new guy. He gets to talk. He has a very different view from Fauci. And NPR had a piece on him.
So who is Dr. Atlas? Let's start with his background. Jeff.
Well, he was a radiologist at Stanford. In the early 2000s, he joined the Hoover Institution, this right-wing think tank over at Stanford.
No, it's not.
After the outbreak...
He should have said far right-wing. That would have been so much more on message. What is it? It's not right-wing?
It's conservative in a very traditional sense.
Is that Victor Davis Hanson? He's at the Hoover?
Well, he's one of the, I think he may be at the Hoover.
I think he is.
But there's a lot of guys at the Hoover that are not far right-wing nuts.
Well, NPR, man. NPR.
NPR is getting worse by the minute. I've said it on this show before, and I'll say it again.
But they are very entertaining.
The early
They're
2000s.
bigoted.
Sorry. They are somewhat bigoted, I think.
Just at Stanford. In the early 2000s, he joined the Hoover Institution, this right-wing think tank over at Stanford.
After the outbreak started, he became a Fox News regular, attacking the lockdown, saying America needs to reopen, kids should go back to school. That seems to be where Atlas caught the president's attention.
Yeah, we've actually got a little bit of tape of him talking. This is Scott Atlas back in April. He was on this.
Just even that. Well, we've got a little bit of tape of him talking. It's a verbal eye roll. Or am I misreading that?
No, I'm not going to argue this point.
list caught the president's attention.
Yeah, we've actually got a little bit of tape of him talking. This is Scott Atlas. Back in April, he was on the Steve Deace show. That is a conservative talk show.
Those who are not at risk to die or have a serious hospital requiring illness, we should be fine with letting them get infected, generating immunity on their own. And the more immunity in the community, the better we can eradicate the threat of the virus.
Jeff Brumfield, he says we should be fine with letting them get infected. Am I hearing that right? Is he saying some people should just get sick with COVID?
Yeah. So again, this was back in the spring, but he was advocating for an approach that's called.
Yeah.
Getting the way she puts it, she said people can get it, and most people are asymptomatic, but she equates getting it with getting sick. She immediately says that sick. And she's, by the way, you're talking about the eye roll. She has got the aghast sound in her voice. Oh my God. How can
Did I hear that right? Hold on. What I said before just happened.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you turning it down?
I am now.
Okay. Give me a level, please.
Well, let me yell first. Hold on. Let me turn it down. I'm going to turn it down so I'm going to look at the VU meter on this thing. And then.
We found the bug. Wow. He yelled and it disconnected him. Holy crap. We are bug hunters.
Okay. I think I'm ready to go.
Hey, we should get a bug hunter bounty for this one. Hello?
It is an issue.
Well, okay, so this is your level now? Because I need some level.
I'm going to keep this level until you. But it readjusts. The thing is, because the system, this clean feed, does its own, balancing, and so it's turned me back up.
Huh. That's weird.
I mean, I turned myself down.
By the way, everybody, apologies for the last show. We had some technical errors, and the first 18 minutes weren't recorded. And Darren O, of course, immediately sent me the 18 minutes. But after, 3 hours, and then we're looking, some edits here, a couple of dropouts, and I get this piece. I'm like, okay, here's where we pick it up. Boom, I put it together. We ship the show out. But left in there was the actual moment where I go, F John, F Windows, F Bill Gates. And then it very quickly goes into the good piece. But I apologize if anyone was shocked by what happened. That was an edit fail.
Huh.
Yeah. People seem to actually enjoy it, as usual. Okay.
Well, that's because everybody likes a train wreck.
All right. You're the
meltdown.
You're the one looking for him. It was not a meltdown. It was not an Adam meltdown. It was just a short sizzle. Let me see where you were. Did I hear that right? Hold on.
Gassed sound in her voice. Oh my God. How can
Did I hear that right? Let me see if I can find her.
Their own, and the more immunity in the community, the better we can eradicate the threat of the virus.
Jeff Brumfield, he says we should be fine with letting them get infected. Am I hearing that right? Is he saying some people should just get sick with COVID?
Wow, she actually does it in a more interesting way. They should get infected. And then she turns it from, am I hearing that right? No, you just said what you heard, which was getting infected. And she said, am I hearing that right? They should get sick? Wow. That's like a one-man whipsaw. That's well done. Good catch.
Yeah, so again, this was back in the spring, but he was advocating for an approach that's called herd immunity. And the idea is that if the virus infects enough people and those people are then immune, it will kind of end up running out of places to spread and burn itself out. Now, Atlas doesn't want to open up completely. He's advocated for letting the virus spread in the population while isolating the oldest and most vulnerable Americans so that they don't get sick and die.
What do public health experts experts have to say about this.
They say this is an incredibly dangerous and risky approach. First, it's very difficult to isolate one group of people from society.
They're in the nursing homes.
The CDC estimates about half of the American population has some kind of risk factor for COVID complications. And then the second problem is COVID can make young people really sick, even if it doesn't kill them.
But I guess the point of their exercise is this is a right-wing thing. Right-wing, a conservative talk show, right-wing guy, right-wing, yes, okay. That's not really serving the public, which is part of the National Public Radio Service.
No, you're way wrong, way wrong.
What am I wrong about?
It's serving the public. It's serving the public in the most important way. Get rid of Trump. Get rid of these Republicans. Get rid of these conservatives. Get rid of all of them.
And with that, I'd like to thank you for your courage and say in the morning to you, the man who put the C in the chemtrails in a crop circle, John C. Dvorak.
Well, in the morning to you, Mr. Adam Curry. Also in the morning to all ships and sea boots on the ground, feet in the air, subs in the water, and all the dames and all the knights out there.
Hey, trolls, in the morning to you. Let's have a quick count. Hands up, trolls. Woo! Woo! Did you hear that? I got the Vapus. 1632. We're 132 above the normal 8-car Zephyr economic zone. This is servicing the public, ladies and gentlemen. That's what's going on.
No, we're actually low. We get
you're
17
right.
plus on a Sunday.
You're right. This is not Thursday. This is a Sunday. Oh, my gosh. We're dying here.
Yeah, things are falling off.
We're dying on the vine. Huh. I guess everyone's like, it's just Australia who gives a crap.
Yeah, we need the Joe Rogan inoculation.
It's coming, baby. It's coming tomorrow. Tuesday at the latest. Tuesday at the latest. Anyway, we're very happy to have every troll. All trolls count, and they all matter to me. That's noagendastream.com, where you can go in, troll along with the show, talk to anybody that you want to, but also troll the host if it's a live show. Listen to great podcasts, all talk, no commercials, 24/7. It is all value for value at noagendastream.com. Hit up Doug in the troll room to get your invite to No Agenda Nation, social.com. NoAgendaSocial.com is our federated social network. No algos, great signal-to-noise ratio, free for all, no advertising, same deal. Just get an invite from somebody who's already on it, or go into the troll room, please, because I'm not your invite guy. It's annoying to have to do that all the time when I give you clear instructions every time.
Oh, well, clear instructions don't mean a lot.
That's true. In the morning to the artist for episode 1274, we titled that Thugs on a Plane. It's Corrector Record, who we think is a fantastic artist. This was, I had difficulty with this one. But I thought in hindsight it looked really good, but I'm just a little tired of the takeoffs on logos with political names, with Trump or Biden Harris. We've had a couple now. And it's just like, that's not all we are, is a show about the election. But this creepy guy behind the Biden Harris logo was quite remarkable to say the least.
It was creepy. That's why I liked it.
Yeah. And we appreciate Corrector Record for making some creepy art. It made John smile. NoAgendaArtGenerator.com is where you can find all of the art that our artists put together, that they are doing during the show. They're actually doing the work, and they're doing it live. And we appreciate all of it because we can use it in newsletters. It shows up on articles of clothing and utility at noagendashop.com. And it just is a great value for the show. It does trigger people into tapping on something when they see new creepy art. NoAgendaArtGenerator.com. We have executive producers and associate executive producers who've supported us for this episode, and let's thank them right now.
Well, before we do that, I want to thank Paul Love of the Daddy Cast.
Yeah.
For sending me a sweatshirt, and he can add to his accounting $51.61. And I when he said, I didn't think, well, okay, well, this is interesting. And then he put in the note, was able to get this before they changed the names. It's a sweatshirt for Washington and Lee University.
Yeah. Oh, well. They have to go. You're going to walk around town? Go to Berkeley, walk around, see how that works.
No one will even notice. I mean, they'll just think I went to Washington and Lee, but they won't put two and two together because they're so stupid.
It's a collector's item. This is a beautiful one. That's great.
And I assume there's other Robert E. Lee related and George Washington related stuff out there. I'm waiting for him to change his name of the state of Washington to something else.
The I can't
change
breathe.
The state of the Washington to Black Lives Matter.
No, the I can't breathe state.
I can't breathe. No,
can I just say something about Black Lives Matter? It finally dawned on me what the problem is with this name. Black Lives Matter. Black lives, the word lives is not the same as people. It's basically organisms that function. You know what I mean? It's like it's kind of a denigrating term, and it can be used for other things. Well, with lives we mean livelihood, or it's tricky. It's really tricky. I think it's well thought out. Am I just babbling on this, or do you see what I'm looking at?
I like your babbling on this.
Yeah,
I don't agree with any of it, but I think it's amusing.
Okay, we'll see. We'll see when they start to use it for something else. I got to write these things down, man, because then I call you on it, and you're like, I don't remember. Find a clip.
Oh well. You're gonna we can both can play that game.
Yes,
but a lot more people can play the game if they're contributors to the No Agenda show. Starting with, in the case of the executive producerships, Sir Gene Morphus in Bellingham, Massachusetts. Sorry, Bellingham, Massachusetts. 373.77. He sent a note in. This is a check that came in, and I'm going to give you the jingles first.
Okay.
Obama chicken dance.
Mm-hmm.
Putin don't worry, be happy, and Amy Klobuchar's that sounds pretty good.
Okay. All right.
Got those?
Mm-hmm.
Dear Holmes and Watson, thank you for your twice per week feats of media deconstruction, daring do. From now until Election Day, the No Agenda show will be the must-listen podcast. I agree with that. Some book-selling karma for my book, Grow Your Brain. Anyone at any age can okay, let's try to read the title better than that. Grow Your Brain. Anyone at any age can have a bigger brain. Better brain. Available at Amazon or a bookstore near you. It would be appreciated. Okay, you just got your plug. And this was from Morphus, Morphis. So that would be the author. A quick shout out to my amazing wife, Pam. We just celebrated our 50th anniversary.
Woo!
That's a lot of years.
And they never had a fight.
They've never had a fight. We've heard that other couples sometimes have arguments or fights, but we, of course, have never experienced that ourselves.
I knew it.
And he says, best the other Sir Gene Morphus, the Knight of Neurogenesis.
All right. And here's what you requested. Did a karma as well on that, or just those jingles?
He didn't say karma.
This is a rowdy crowd. Come on, guys. You're in my house. Hold on a second. No. Hey. Okay, you know what? Shame on you. You shouldn't be doing this.
I think that sounds pretty good.
And the karma for me, 50 years ain't nothing.
You've got karma.
Next on the list, we have Alwa Liebel. How do you think you pronounce that?
Liebel. I think Liebel would be correct.
Well, I'm thinking about the Alwa. A-L-O-I-S, Alois.
Alwa. Alois? Alwa Liebel.
It could be. 333.33 from Newark, Delaware.
Oh.
He's got some jingles. Yep. Don't trust China, pass the Pasta Glock, Rebelizer, and Trump's jobs. Thank you both for the twice weekly sanity check. If we can only get everyone to listen to No Agenda and make America think again, instead of being sheeple over M5M, masks, and vaccines, I personally can't wait for the Gates vaccine, but I can't help but wonder why you would need more than one dose of a vaccine that is supposed to modify your DNA. Shouldn't the first modification take Or are they trying to treat our chromosomes like Jenga blocks?
I got an email from a producer who really pushed back on the idea that it changes the DNA, and then it's like gave me a whole different explanation. So I'm just not even gonna. I don't even know what's happening anymore with this. If you say it's some DNA is changed, they say no, the virus RNA will be changed. What happened to just the old way? Shoot me up with some dead stuff, and then we're done.
Those days are over. I need to thank you for bringing sanity to my wonderful wife, too. I hit her in the mouth for years, and she didn't start listening in earnest until COVID hit. She hasn't missed the show since March, and now is reassured by the fact that not everyone practices mental gymnastics. She surprised me recently when she made her first donation.
Yeah.
Could you please de-douche us both?
You betcha.
You've been de-douched.
I think that's 2 people, 1 more for sure.
You've been de-douched.
Yeah, I'm sure he needed it. But with my latest donation of 333.33, he continues, I've reached knighthood. I'd like to be knighted Sir Proteus, protector of the ones...
Sir Proteus. And we have another crap out. Hold on, John, hold on. I lost you at Sir Cropius, so if you could pick it up again with, oops, and I lost him again. And his head is gone. Oh. Rolling blackouts, don't bother him. Nuh-uh. Someone's got to find that bit where I'm saying that technology companies, Silicon Valley is going to keep everybody working at home forever. And John said that wasn't true. He shat on me. Rolling network fails. All right. Let me just read the troll room. Shat. It's just no good show title that'll come out of that. Today in chat. This week,
I think it would be easier to just reread his whole note from or starting with my donation.
Okay, hold on a second. And hold on. And you're good to go.
With my latest donation of $333.33, I've reached knighthood. I'd like to be knighted Sir Proteus, protector of the ones and zeros. This is in recognition of the Protean credential technology I've patented. I simplified the authentication process while simultaneously eliminating centralized user data breaches and compromised credentials. I'm currently designing a project for decentralized content distribution, aka social media, leveraging Protean security primitives.
Give him a little pew-pew in the background. He's got something going on there. He should have a map.
Yes, it goes on with leveraging Protean security primitives, blockchain, and IPFS with goal of open sourcing it at the end of the year. My Trump jobs will help motivate me to get it done. Absinthe and edibles at the round table, please. Thank you for doing God's work.
Absinthe and edibles. Excuse me, just the thought of it makes me cough.
Donald Trump, don't trust China. China is asshole.
That's not the one he wanted. I'm sorry. Well, I'm going to get the right one for him. Well, I'll play this thing next.
India, Tango, Mike, stand by. 33, 33, 33. Rubblizer out.
I'm gonna shoot you in the face with my noodle gun, you racist piece of shit. I got my pasta Glock locked and loaded.
Jobs, jobs, jobs.
This is Trump jobs.
You've got karma.
All right.
Onward. I'd like to understand more what he's up to there. It's probably something that...
something worthwhile.
Yeah. I almost had comic strip guy there, but I couldn't quite keep it. It's a voice I'm working on.
Makes the edit
Mickey
so much
D,
easier.
Meanwhile, in Arlington, Virginia, at 333.33. Hi, John and Adam, a loyal listener for 5 or so years now, and due to recent selling my house, I figured it's time to give back. I constantly hit my significant other in the mouth, hoping one day she'll await each show like a junkie too. Apparently she hasn't. Grew up watching Tech TV and John C. Dvorak. Love all the jingles and funny quips. Let's give a
F cancer and jobs. We had a little disconnect there. Let's give an F cancer and jobs karma for all the dudes and dudettes out there. Keep the dream alive and find that exit strategy, my dude, says Mikey D. Thank you, Mikey D.
Jobs, 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 and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got karma.
boom.
Boom.
Michael Obano in Miami Lakes, Florida, 33333. And he says, happy belated birthday to you. You, Mr. Adam Curry.
Oh, thank you very much. That's appreciated.
Yeah. And so he continues by saying, with this donation, I'm a knight. Mail carrier in Miami. We hate how we've been politicized. They've been politicized? These poor mail guys? I wonder if he
What do you mean? Have you not paid attention to the entire debate?
No, I know, but what I'm asking, you didn't listen to the rest of it. I'm wondering if he gets grief. If you're walking down the street delivering the mail, do you think people give you grief? Or
No. What I think is that housewives come out and like, oh, you're a hero. I think it's great for them on that level. And housemen too, by the way. What?
What? I didn't hear what you said.
It was a male sexist generalized quote.
Oh, I won't let you say it again.
No, thank you.
Anyway, we hate how we've been politicized. But anyway, about COVID, we're scared in the beginning, but not anymore. We're basically forced to wear masks by our supervisors and customers. I just noted that FedEx and UPS guys are not wearing masks. The Postmaster General is making changes to cut overtime, but it will never work. It'll never work. For jingles, can you play Dr. Kiki's Science, Jobs, and Karma? I'm grateful for everything I learned from the show. I'd like to be knighted Sergeant Postal. He was a sergeant in the Marines, Semper Fi.
Yeah, Semper Fi. Looking forward to that. We'll see you at the round table.
Shut up already. Science. Jobs, 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 and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got karma.
Steve Banstra's next on the list at $333 in Nashville. And he's our last executive. Hey, please accept this donation and issue the requisite de-douching.
You've been de-douched.
I first heard about the podcast back in January of this year while attending an all-day gathering at our neighbors. We were new to the neighborhood, and the day progressed. Along with the drinking conversation, it began to move towards current events. And it became clear to my wife and me that we weren't at a place, quote, where everybody feels the same.
Okay.
Then in walked their brother-in-law, and everyone scattered like roaches. I was the only one left in the kitchen, and he cornered me.
This is typical. This is how we find each other.
He began talking to me about some podcast with knights and dames and ex-DJs and computer geeks. All I could think of was, what the hell kind of 80s Dungeons and Dragons shit is this guy talking about? Fast forward a few months, and Rona is here. I work in the airline industry, and I suddenly found myself with hours upon hours isolated in hotels while at work. Might as well give up and listen to that No Agenda show I heard about. I haven't missed the show since.
Oh, nice.
Thank you to Scott, the brother-in-law, for punching me in the mouth. My smoking hot wife, Jessica, is now a listener as well. And I've learned that my high school buddy, Kriegs, is a douchebag.
Yay!
Douchebag! No karma, but it's like the It's True jingle, as that's my wife's favorite. Thanks for all you guys do. Steve in Nashville.
Hey, Steve, that's a great note. And that is, and so somehow the programming works because it's stuck in your brain, whatever your, whatever Scott, the brother-in-law, did. It's effective. We need to find out.
I think it's funny.
It's beautiful.
It's a funny story.
Yeah, and welcome to your smoking hot wife as well.
That's true.
There you go. Thank you very much. for your courage.
And I like the part where everyone scatters.
like roaches.
Yeah, that's what you do with no agenda people. They come in, everyone scatters. They don't want to deal with it. They don't want to deal with the truth. You must have a letter from Dame Astrid.
I do. Happy birthday, Adam. Wishing you a great day every day. Don't you feel like we laugh more the older we get? Yes, I do, Dame Astrid. Life experience makes you calmer. That's something I learned over the past 13 years with you, John. I used to think that, the end would be coming next year. And now we know it just takes a little longer. Sometimes it never really comes. Enjoy that Pepsi. What was once a matter of absolute vital importance to our young and underdeveloped frontal cortex seems slowly turning into a moment of comic relief. Keep it funny, says Dame Astrid. She is the Duchess of Japan and all the disputed islands in the Japan Sea, and it's always nice to hear from her, and thank you very much. And she supported us with $256.93. Obviously, birthday numbers encoded. Thank you again, Dame Astrid. And if I can continue with C. Mike for a moment, because C. Mike sent me a separate note, just so you know that I am quite fair when I can't remember something properly. On the last show, I saw in the troll room that you actually despise the algos, we're all going to die jingle, and you said that's not true. And I said someone else remembers it differently. Well, it was C. Mike, and I'm wrong. He originally recorded and sent the algos, more algos, we're all going to die exactly 3 years ago, as it turns out. That was September 3rd, 2017. And you did not like the algos, but you love the we're all going to die part. And so the algos went away, and we're all going to die became a staple.
We're all going to die.
And that is the story of the jingle.
So we're all going to die came from the algos, we're all going to die?
That's what I'm understanding, yeah.
Huh. That's interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it's tighter.
Yes, it's much tighter. I'm in complete agreement with you. And I think you're right. If we'd heard it like that, I would have said the same thing.
Well, he writes in this note, he does live in Kansas City. With this donation, I finally vault past the amount required for knighthood. At the round table, I request Kansas City Strip and Cabernet Sauvignon, unless sommelier Dvorak recommends a different wine pairing. No, that's pretty much the standard high-quality wine pairing, as long as the Cabernet is of good quality, which takes some effort. My wife loves the special Dvorak.org/NA, so that a dealer's choice, Reverend Manning, and your best jobs, Karma, since we can use it. Regards.
Yes, and I believe he sent me that one to use. Here it is.
Dvorak.org/NA.
They're saying that all hell is going to break loose, and you're going to need a Bitcoin.
Jobs, and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got karma.
It's my favorite Manning these days.
I think it's becoming my favorite Manning because it's so ludicrous.
I just use it all the time. I say, the apocalypse is coming, and you're going to need a Bitcoin. And people just, it fries them. Huh?
Sean Negrin in Clark, New Jersey, 22222. Didn't you live in Clark? Oh, that's your middle name.
No, I did not.
New Jersey update. My house has increased in value $50,000 from all New York City people. I've heard about this, by the way.
Wow. Dynamite.
Yeah. Yeah.
Rona bucks.
Apparently people are bailing from New York and buying standing homes, single-family dwellings.
Rona bonus.
It doesn't take much to change the dynamics
value,
there.
Sure. Rona bonus.
It takes an hour to get into IKEA. New Jersey last in the nation to announce a restaurant indoor plan. We're sick of masks, and I'm seeing more hushed, secret Trump support.
Yeah, not surprising. Not surprising.
J. Robert Appleby Jr. in Greenburgh, Pennsylvania, 21705. He sent a note in, an email. It's actually a combo kind of it's a check, but it was a bank check, so the email's separate.
It's a Gmail.
Thank you both for your bi-weekly podcast that provide my wife and and I a full weekend of listening pleasure. And as everyone knows, a couple that listens together stays together. We look forward every week to the deconstruction you provided of the M5M's wonderfully valuable news stories. Note, sarcasm, don't want anyone to mistake my meaning, as so many seem to do. In other words, he's ridiculing the M5M, just to further clarify the clarification. On a less cheery note, my month's donation is coming to you. Some requests from my lovely wife and myself to express our love and prayers for our granddaughter, October, Toby. She has recently gone through surgery for cancer and will be going through radiation therapy to finish clearing it up. Luckily, the prognosis is good for complete recovery, but you never want to see your children, or in this case, grandchildren, go through this.
It's horrible.
She's also having her 25th birthday celebration this week as well, so you have to put her on the list.
Okay, let me see. And, Toby from who?
Toby from Bob Appleby and wife from the Applebee's.
From the Applebee's, and 25 when?
This week. I don't know.
This week. Okay. Roger.
We'd like to have you put her on the birthday list, as we just did, and if you would play the two following jingles, F Cancer and Goat Karma, for speeding her along with her recovery. Thank you for providing us with all the best podcasts, in the universe, and the best to you both, and to all of your loyal listeners.
You bet. Thank you.
You've got karma.
Goat. Got the goat.
Todd Hendrickson in Woodstock, Illinois, 20202. Thanks to our brother, Chad, who hit both his brothers in the mouth, Kyle and Todd. Thankfully, none of us are douchebags. I was listening to the No Agenda show and decided to go for a run. When I checked my cell phone battery charge status, 33% charged. I knew it was a sign from above. If Adam is ever in the Chicago area visiting the Keeper's family and wants to go flying, we are a family of pilots who regularly fly a Mooney.
Oh, whoa.
And an Aeronica Champ and a WW2T6 Texan. Hey, what about me? I'd love to go up in a Texan.
I'll take one of each, please. Here's an idea.
I would be great fun and an honor to fly such a delightful crackpot. Keep up the good, again, left out.
Yeah.
I'm left out of going on Hotep Jesus show, and now this. It's the worst. P.S. How can anyone stand Amy Goodman's snarky voice is a mystery to me. No jingles, no karma. Todd Hendrickson in Woodstock.
Hey, why don't the Hendricksons come down and pick us up? Now you're talking. Little cross country. That's a flight, man, from Austin to Chicago. That's a cool flight.
Yeah, you can go visit your relatives, and then you can fly back commercial or fly back on something else.
Yeah, I'll pay for gas.
He'll pay for gas. You heard him.
Of course. That's the deal. With pilots, it's a deal. We're flying your plane, I'll pay for the gas. At least I'm probably dumb. I probably pay too much. Pilots
last on the list, that. Farmer Todd in Wellsboro, PA, $200. Sharing some of my sweet corn money with you fellas. Love the show. Keep doing the work. Speaking of sweet corn, I drove from my place in north central Pennsylvania to northwestern New York to pick up a bowl a few weeks ago. I counted over 300 Trump signs, maybe 10 Biden signs, and 22 sweet corn signs. Seems like an even sweet corn has a better chance at the presidency than Biden. Yeah, I like that kind of humor. And let me do this. You get a ring-a-ding. Also, if possible, I'd like to call out Chester Corn Pop P for being a douchebag. Douchebag! An old friend, his sister and brother-in-law are my neighbors and friends of mine, and he heard my name in the donation a few months ago, asked if I was Farmer Todd, to which I responded, "Are you a douchebag?" His response, 100%. Please send some rain karma this way. Thanks for the upper... Oh, brother. Tia Doughton in north central Pennsylvania. Yours truly, Farmer Todd. Pennsylvania farmers.
Yes, Pennsyltucky, as he actually says. And Brolf-in-Law is a new one.
Pennsyltucky is in Pennsyltucky, right? Which is
area.
I'm
going to use Brolf-in-Law. That's a good one.
Brolf-in-law.
Because you can just slip it in. You're a great Brolf-in-law. I mean, what do you say? Yeah.
What?
Well, Brolf-in-law says what? And you're actually being kind of mean. That's cool. Did we need anything here? Any?
Somebody wants some karma.
Oh yeah, the rain karma. That's right. We got that.
You've got karma.
So those are executive and associate executive producers for show Lucky Show 1275.
Yeah.
I want to thank each and every one of them for making the show possible.
Value for value is the only way we could be doing the type of show that we do. We decided that very early on, more than 13 years ago, or about 13 years ago now. Don't we have an anniversary coming up?
In October.
Is that our 13th or our 14th?
I think it's our 14th.
My goodness. And we never had a fight. Fantastic. Value for value is very simple. You listen to the show. What is it worth to you? Money is different for everybody. $10 could be a lot for you. Might not be so much for somebody else. Doesn't matter. That's the value. As long as you got maximum value, put your maximum value you can into it. Your valuation. That's the only thing we ask for. And for those fortunate enough to be able to support at these amounts, you, of course, do become executive producers and associate executive producers of the best podcast in the universe. And you may use those titles in any capacity where you represent yourself as such. And if you need any vouching, we'll be happy to do it. You want to get in on this? Go to
Dvorak.org/NA.
Ah, yes. Oh, I'm ready.
Our formula is this. We go out, we hit people in the mouth.
Order! Order!
Shut up, slave!
Shut up, slave!
I see you have a number of C-SPAN clips, which I'm very interested in.
Yes, these are gems.
Do you mind if I do a quick Richard Grenell thing about China before that?
Oh no, you can do as much as you want. Then I'm going to run these things.
You're going to do a run of gems.
You're going to love them.
I know. You already teased me that you've got clip of the day. I take that kind of tease seriously, very seriously. So the Richard Grenell, who is the U.S. ambassador, does he have a protectorate these days? Is he U.S. ambassador to the EU? I can't remember now.
He was EU for a while. I will look him up.
Yeah.
On the Book of Knowledge as you continue to speak.
Yes. So he was present and a part of brokering a deal between Kosovo and what's the other one?
Oh no, Grenell's the
Serbia.
acting director of the National Intelligence.
That's right. He's National Intelligence now. So Serbia and Kosovo. Ever since the United States pretty much blew that whole region to bits with a cruise missile was that 2008, I think? Family of mine lived not too far.
Wasn't that during the
I'm sorry,
administration?
not 2008, 98. Was it 98?
Yeah, something like that.
98. I think it was 98. It was Clinton. I know Clinton did it. And it was really weird. I was actually still there. Now, that was they said it was a sectarian war, but even the Dutch were involved in all kinds of, the Srebrenica
This is the one
massacre.
where we blew up the Chinese embassy, if you remember.
That's exactly what happened. So Grenell and the White House and President Trump have negotiated a deal, an economic deal between these two. And, we even covered in the past year or so, they're trying to capture a little piece. Hey, we want to have this piece of Serbia and we get that piece of Kosovo. And there's all kinds of things running around through this relationship. Well, they've put together a deal. And, by itself, you could think it's not really sexy for the news media. And it turns out they really didn't do their homework. And this clip went viral to the detriment of the actual message, I think. But that's why you have the No Agenda show. It went viral because not only did they not even ask the first question about the agreement itself, they asked it about some gay legislation agenda. And in this case, it's of context to know that Richard Grenell is gay, openly gay, married to a man, and so hilarity ensues. But they really miss what's going on, which I'll get to. But I'd like to play this bit first because he does kind of spank him.
Ambassador Grenell, clearly you were effective here as the special envoy to these talks between Serbia and Kosovo. But I wanted to ask you about another initiative you led Last year, you kicked off the Trump administration push to decriminalize homosexuality.
Yeah, I'm going to just talk about Kosovo and Serbia. I don't know if you can find it on a map, but this is atrocious. I have to tell you guys, you might be too young to understand what this issue is about. Maybe the older journalists should step up and say, this is a big deal. This is a big issue. I'm astounded at what happens in Washington, D.C., and especially in this room. I got to tell you, get substantive. Maybe it's too complicated of an issue for you all.
Rick, respectfully, this is the first time we've had the opportunity to speak with these individuals.
Okay, but today's about Kosovo and Serbia. Let's take a little time and talk about this 21-year issue, Peter. I mean, 21-year issue, we're getting the same questions that are all politics. You guys don't understand what's happening outside of Washington, D.C. People aren't listening to you anymore.
Oh, yeah.
It's really a crisis in journalism. And I think it's because people are too young to understand issues like Kosovo and Serbia.
Peter,
how about a substantive question?
I don't think any of us came here for a lecture about our questioning.
Okay, well, I didn't come
here. But the question I would like to ask you, is it accurate to say that it's full economic normalization? There was some ambiguity as to whether that is what the deal is about. And
what do you mean by full?
Well, that's the question for you.
No, it's a question for you. What's your definition of full? This is economic normalization for whatever the two parties could bring together.
I'm genuinely asking so that we can write our stories accurately. Yeah. Do we say that they have achieved an economic normalization deal?
What changed from a few months ago when they pulled down the tariffs to today? What is the substantive?
Have you read the agreement?
You haven't put the agreement out.
It's out.
All right, so that last bit is, to me, the most important, is like, it's out. Said, you haven't even put it out. These guys don't do their homework, and I think he's right. They don't understand.
There's a couple of things I want to mention, because there was an issue journalistically there.
Oh, good.
Where the guy says, I didn't come here to get a lecture, which I thought was a great comeback.
Was a good line, yes.
Except for the fact...
That's exactly what he came for.
Why are you going to a press conference if you don't want a lecture? You want to hear what's going on. That's what you're there for.
Well, he said it was a lecture on how to ask questions. He didn't want that lecture.
Yeah, I know what it was, but the point was, it's just like, come on. I like the line, though. I like this.
Peter, don't be so mean. All right. Is there anything else you want? Other points?
The rest of it was just, he was right. There's a bunch of kids, they don't know what the hell they're doing.
So, of course, we didn't really get any reporting on what this is about, but this is No Agenda, and we like to look at these things. So it's kind of a short agreement, and the first thing is both parties will implement the Belgrade-Pristina rail agreement, which is actually signed on February 14th. This is a very important issue, and you'll find out for a moment. As in addition, parties will commit to a joint feasibility study on options for linking Belgrade-Pristina rail infrastructure to a deep-sea port in the Adriatic Sea. So you know that this is about some pass-through transport that we're interested in. In addition to that, Kosovo, Pristina, and Serbia, Belgrade, will work with the U.S. International Development Finance Corporation. So we're putting up money. And this will be to operationalize the following: the Peace Highway. Oh, God, couldn't we have come up with something better than that? Blech. The rail link between Pristina and Medar, the rail link between Nice and Pristina, providing financing to support loans required for small, medium-sized. So this is basically, we are helping build something up here. Both parties will open and operationalize the common crossing point facility, so there will be a mini Schengen zone, so no passports needed between Serbia, Albania, and North Macedonia. Both parties will mutually recognize diplomas and professional certificates. This actually is a big deal. This is something the EU, I think, finally figured out, is if you're a nurse in one country, in Serbia,
you got to be able to.
Yeah, you got to be able to. Okay, and here's my favorites. Both parties will agree to work with the U.S. Department of Energy and other appropriate U.S. government entities on a feasibility study for the purposes of sharing the Gazivod Ujmani Lake as a reliable water and energy supply, so maybe a dam in the future. Both parties will diversify their energy supplies, hello, LPG from us, and both parties will prohibit the use of 5G equipment supplied by untrusted vendors in their communications networks. Where such equipment is already present, both parties commit to removal and other mediation efforts in a timely fashion. China is asshole. This is a complete attack on China. Because China was they want to put their data center in. They want the Belt and Road going through that the extension to Pristina to the port. We're completely cock-blocking China. This is great, and everyone's arguing about, oh, don't lecture me on how to ask a question. And it's not the only place this is happening. This is also happening, of all places, although you'll find out why, at Papua New Guinea.
As Papua New Guinea refuses to pay back loans to China, China's debt trap diplomacy has backfired spectacularly, and it looks like Scott Morrison has played his cards very well. Papua New Guinea, or PNG, an island country north of Australia, has set a great example on how to deal with China's debt trap diplomacy. The small island nation, where the infamous Chinese company Huawei had built a national data center with the loan of $53 million from the Export-Import Bank of China, is refusing to pay back the loans, as China was using this data center to spy on the affairs of Papua New Guinea. This is actually a strategic and diplomatic victory for Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison. As an early China hawk, Morrison saw that China is gaining a strategic advantage in the poor island nation by lending millions of dollars. He financed the study within a few months after coming to power, which revealed that Huawei had built a faulty data center which is being used by the People's Liberation Army for military activities.
Well, if people want to look into this, there's a lot of reports from 60 Minutes show, the good one, the one in Australia.
Yeah, the good one. Yeah.
On ABC. Yeah. Because the Chinese have been doing this. They did the same thing at the Solomon Islands and all those islands that are outside of Australia. And they're doing this.
And I bet they have fiber pass-throughs. That's where big fiber sea cables might run through some of those.
There's a bunch of stuff the Chinese want to do, and they're using our old economic hitman strategy, except for the fact that they haven't got quite the leverage that we have. And so they can't quite pull it off. And I think they're going to lose a lot of money in some of these deals if we have anything to do with it. And I think we have a lot to do with it.
Yes, of course we have a lot to do with it. This is, I mean, obviously we're at war. We're at war. The president himself called it spyway, I think, at some point. He's used that as some sort of Huawei spyway.
Here's what I'm missing. I'm missing some technical briefing on exactly how the back door, if there is one, or anything that Huawei's put in, or if they've designed it with so much microcode that they can swap it out and turn it into a... I mean, I would like to see something other than just saying, well, it's from China, so therefore it's, it's a backdoor from the People's Liberation Army. I would like to see some actual documentation that proves this. They've got the gear. Cisco knows.
Well, if it's embedded somehow into the firmware, that it just may not be possible.
Doable.
Yeah. But is it really about that, or is it about just not letting them have control at all? I mean, it's not like... Forget the spy part. They'll have control over something. They will have hands-on in the data center control over changing, modifying, rerouting, whatever.
That.
I mean, there's that.
Yeah, that's probably more important. But still, if you're going to make these assertions, I'd like to see some documentation.
China is going hard and heavy after our Secretary of State, Mike Pompeo.
A long article by Chinese Communist Party mouthpiece Xinhua News Agency.
I should mention this is Epoch Times. So when they talk disparagingly of some mouthpiece, they're on the opposite side of the equation.
That lambasted U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo for criticizing the communist regime has unexpectedly backfired as Chinese netizens expressed support for Pompeo and criticized the CCP. On August 25th, Xinhua published a 30,000-word article to criticize the speech Pompeo delivered outside the Nixon Presidential Library in California on July 23rd. Xinhua said it was a total negation of the China-U.S. relations and malicious attacks on the CCP's political system and undermines the CCP's relations with the Chinese people. It then excerpted 26 passages from Pompeo's speech and criticized them one by one.
So he's the big badass. He's the big badass. And is China involved in the Nord Stream 2?
I have no idea, but I've heard nothing like that. That's just a pure Russia play.
Well, no, it's not just a play. I mean, it's a consortium. The Netherlands is in there. Hold on, let me just check real quick.
Yeah, but it's Russia goo in there.
No, I understand it's Russian goo. I'm just trying to see if there's... I thought there was a possibility that China might have been a part. Oh, here we go. Angela Merkel, Medvedev, Mark Rutte. So it's the French. Well, theory. Here's Pompeo. This is a Redux clip, so just play a little bit and you'll remember what he was saying.
Today, the Department of State is updating the public guidance for CATS authorities to include Nord Stream 2 and the second line of Turk Stream 2. This action puts investments or other activities that are related to these Russian energy export pipelines at risk of U.S. sanctions. It's a clear warning to companies aiding and abetting Russia's malign influence projects will not be tolerated.
Okay, so that was a big problem. Now, what is the issue with Nord Stream 2? It goes to Germany. So, what is Germany going to do? Angela Merkel on one hand, she's, Putin is no good. She's from Italy, apparently. So that's what she has to say on one hand. The other hand, she's doing business with them because the oil or gas comes in through their pipelines. They make euros. They build Mercedes, Maybachs, BMWs, maybe not BMWs, but they send them all over to Russia. I mean, they've got it's the Euro circular movement in that region. So how does she get out of it? Well, what if it was part of some bigger play? And I mean play as in a play that's being acted. In part one, we've got Pompeo saying, hey, people, you got to get out. You got to get out because we're going to be sanctions. It's not going to be any good. And we can't have you relying on Russian gas. That's not good for you. That's very dangerous. We're going to provide you with liquid petroleum gas. Russia then decides, okay, we're going to take action against Alexei Navalny in Syria, Siberia of all places. He's poisoned on his plane ride, goes into a coma, and where does he go? He goes to Germany, goes into the hospital there. Is it thinkable that this, and the poison thing, it bothers me. This is not what, is Putin really so dumb that he thinks, I need to kill somebody, I'm going to poison him on the plane? Seriously, am I supposed to believe this? This is like a CSI shit show, 60-minute, wrap it up with your commercials plot. So is it possible that Navalny made some kind of deal, also getting him out of Russia? Maybe he actually was afraid for his life. He fakes the poison thing. Now Merkel, they had a meeting. Oh, we have to have meetings, Macron meetings. Oh, what are we going to do? We condemn what they've done. Maybe this is the way she politically can get out of the Nord Stream 2, which is almost finished.
That's an interesting idea.
We'll see if she calls it off.
There's a lot of intrigue.
Well, isn't that what this show is all about? Intrigue.
It's about intrigue. I will say that the part of the theory where is Putin that dumb, I have to kind of agree with that. Unless it was like, it's like a Mexican cartel, they make it clear who did the killing, so so in case you're one of these guys against them, you will think twice. But, yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay.
All right, C-SPAN stuff.
Well, first off, let's start off with this is not the call-ins. This is Biden. My favorite clip of the week. You've heard this one.
Have I? Which one is it?
This is the C-SPAN Biden line fact check false.
To Santa Monica, California. This is Linda. Good morning on our Biden line.
Yes, I'm all for Biden. And
hold on a second. Hold on. Is that Biden line fact check false clip?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, then I'm wrong. Let me. That's the one we play last.
Okay.
Let's start with the C-SPAN call-ins. Trump TV to Biden 1. Now, this is an example of somebody, a Trump supporter, calling in, and then they kick it over to the Biden guy. This will be the Trump guy.
And back to your calls. Cookeville, Tennessee. Bob, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for taking my call. I'd just like to talk about the hypocrisy of, I'll call them Biden's propaganda media outlets. Perfect example is until the polls started shifting on Biden, the Democrats and the media outlets was all calling it peaceful protest. But now that they're blaming Trump for all the violence, how does that work? When for 3 months they said they were peaceful protests. CNN, MSNBC would do stories with buildings.
Is this guy a ham who's on like 80 meters at night?
I mean, I had to leave this guy on there because he's got such an unbelievable MSNBC. He's got such a ridiculous accent. And it's not a Tennessean accent as far as I'm concerned, unless there's parts of Tennessee that have this accent.
No.
The Tennessee accent.
This is ham radio.
Is generally more pleasant.
This is ham radio. This is ham radio.
Yeah, it's a ham radio guy.
3 in the morning on 80 meters.
CNN, MSNBC would do stories with buildings burning in the background and saying, "Oh, that's just peaceful protest." And another hypocritical thing by the Democrats yesterday was a video of Nancy Pelosi in the beauty salon. It's the old adage, say, don't do as I do as I tell you to do. I mean, the hypocrisy in that Brian Seltzer you had there yesterday, I tried to call in then. When you going to have somebody on Fox News on your show?
We had Chris Wallace here on his new book.
Oh, he's no good.
Wallace, he's a rhino. That guy's a clown, man. I watch him. I can't even watch him anymore. If you want to watch somebody on
you asked the question, Bob. I gave you. We have guests from all the networks as we're able to get them, when we're able to get them. But I appreciate your input. To Granite City, Illinois, David, Biden supporter.
No. It's good for me. It's good for me. If you have better than this.
Oh, they're all better than that.
That guy is a legend. That guy's a CNN.
You're right. He's definitely saying CQ a lot.
Hey, were you looking for the Biden light bulb thing? Is that what you were looking for?
Yeah.
Okay, I have a 12-second clip if and when you need it.
Okay, we'll play it later.
Okay.
Let's go with this is part 2 of the same clip. Now we go to the Democrat.
Oh, well, I hurt my finger. I laughed so much, and I hit the mic so much it twirled backwards, but it really hurts. Hold on. This is Trump TV to Biden 2? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Granite City, Illinois, David, Biden supporter.
Hi. I'd like to try to talk about a problem that I see, if you want to talk about terrorism going on in this country. It actually is originating, in my opinion, at this time, from the Electoral College being used to control the food supply chain in this country, making it impossible for most Americans to actually have a vote on their health, because all the farms and all the meat packaging plants decided to build right next door to one another, keep it all in the family. Whoa. And instead of the Electoral College being something about their taxes or their property, they've turned it into warfare by spreading this COVID-19 that is originating and coming out of their food processing processes. That is the real terrorism going on. And the fear from it is making everyone upset, making everyone overreact, and it's at least partially causing the violence in the street.
We welcome your comments on Twitter.
All right. Now, this is something very important. The C-SPAN free advice from the Curry Dvorak Consulting Group. This is a hit program. This is hit programming that you have on your hands. And this is completely perfect for a podcast. The daily caller of the day, whatever we need a branding for it, John. John, can you check with the creatives? We need branding for it. This is This would make me so happy every day.
Call of the Day is a good brand.
Call of the Day. If I could have one Republican line, one Trump line, one Biden line. Let's just make it. We'll just call it what it is, and just give me those two for a day. That would start my day off great.
They have so many of these, and this one guy who collects these, he's got this look on his face that he just looks into the camera like, oh. I went to college and this is what I'm doing. That's the look. That's what he's saying to you.
But audio is good enough. You don't even need the video. It's good enough. All right, what's next?
So we go back to the Republicans.
Yes.
And this one's not as good as the first Republican, but this is not bad. But then we get to the two gems. Okay. And not that last one.
It was pretty good.
Wasn't a gem.
Yes.
But let's go to the Cliff and the social worker.
Okay, caller, go ahead.
Okay, to Cliff in San Angelo, Texas. Go ahead.
Good morning. It's so simple. I'm sitting here in my house talking to everybody this morning, and I have a lovely home. I've got a lovely neighbor next door, across the street. What if all of a sudden one of those neighbors came and burned my house down? Just came across, set it on fire, and burned it down. I think anybody would be absolutely petrified, astounded, wouldn't believe it. And you would want who to come? Social worker?
This is, again, this is such hit programming because you're hearing this throughout the entire country. There are people all over who are having these conversations with these quotes. Different versions. Having the colorful people do these versions is entertainment. It will be healing for the soul. Because we're also like, hey, there's more than just me. There's at least that guy. I think it's dynamite programming. Very good.
Okay, now I've got the last two, which are both from the Biden line, and they're both dynamite. I'm going to go. One of them is just a bunch of memes that just. This is the. Let's play this one. This is the fact check false clip, and this is just a woman spewing the hate memes that they've created around Trump, and all she's doing is just repeating them and she's a guest. And this, by the way, this woman is the one who is the one you run into in the Berkeley area. This is the one I ran into at the dinner party. Oh. This is they just got, and the next door neighbors this way. Blah, 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 Putin, a lot of Putin. And so let's play this one out.
To Santa Monica, California, this is Linda. Good morning on our Biden line.
Yes, I'm all for Biden. And to talk about law and order, this is a president who had a fake school, which was fraud, who also did not file federal taxes, a man who also was going to build condos in Baja, took money, never built them, and his father, who actually ended up in jail for marching with the KKK. And he's talking about law and order. A man who won't even won't even ask Putin about the bounties on our military. And he's got to realize when he's talking about bad Democrats, we have military men who are Democrats too.
Oh my, she really took it hook, line, and sinker, didn't she? She's really only listening to Rachel Maddow, I guess. It sounds
like Rachel Maddow stuff.
Yeah, a little bit like that. Yeah.
Got everything wrong, but okay.
So well. Again, entertaining. My day is good.
Okay, well, this one here will entertain you the most.
Okay.
I believe this is the best of the group. You can take or leave any of them, but this is the woman with the, you've heard of herd immunity? Let's try this one on for size.
All right, we'll hear from Josephine in Livingston, New Jersey on our Biden line.
Good morning.
Morning.
It is very, very sad that this country has come to the point, it's you against me, just like the woman you heard from California. My God, do we really live in America? This idolatry to Lucifer. That's how I label Trump, I have to say it. This idolatry to Lucifer. And even the white evangelical church who proclaims himself pro-life. They're not pro-life. They're pro-birth. Now they're saying, go die, like this Dr. Atlas that Trump has just hired, who believes in this idea of herd mentality. To get to that herd mentality, 2 million people have to die.
Tony's next on our Trump line from Joppa, Maryland. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Fuck you, Dvorak.
Clip of the day.
I mean, you had built it up so much. Even if I hadn't laughed, I would have given it to you. But that was... Do you have that ISO? Tell me you have 2 million
no,
people.
No, I didn't ISO it. I'm sorry. There's at least 2 or 3 items there. Which one are you thinking? 2 million people have to die?
No, it's this one here. Hold on, let me see if I can get it.
People.
No, I can zoom in on the clips. Kind of hard.
2 million people have to die.
Oh, it's so morbid.
2 million people
that's an ISO.
have to die.
I mean, I don't even want to argue over an end of show ISO, actually. It's just that good.
It's pretty good.
2 million people have to die.
And that's how you get herd mentality.
Yeah, herd mentality. Scott Atlas with his right-wing herd mentality. Oh, we would not be able. We would have to lock the door. The advertisers would be all over us.
The half the people that call in these to C-SPAN are in the bag. They're just
no kidding.
Drunk.
No kidding. Well, Joe's doing okay himself.
Why in God's name don't we teach history in history classes? A black man invented the light bulb, not a white guy named Edison.
Okay. Wow. Did you look into?
He's full of shit.
Did you look into it? I certainly did. You know what? Here's my analysis of it. If you look at the Wikipedia page, you could derive that from the way it's written. But patents actually do matter. And look, I think technological inventions are very complicated when it comes to accreditation. And if I may explain why, and then I would love to hear you, because you actually have dealt with some of this stuff, probably as a legal witness or a specialist. Podcasting. Did I invent RSS? No. Did I invent MP3? No. Did I invent the iPod? No. Did I invent HTTP? No. Did I string these two together and say, look at what I got? Yeah. So, did I have, there was a part of the concept of the subscription. It was my idea and I communicated it. Dave Weiner gladly implemented it. So is he an inventor? Yes. But, where does it stop? How does it work? And what does it matter? What does it matter? To racialize that is shame on you, Joe Biden.
Yeah, it was pretty pathetic.
Shame on you.
Well, this is a little different. I think the light bulb is a little different than the podcast, to be honest about
Equally
it.
important.
Although I don't think Joe Rogan would agree with that.
Gosh. Man, hold on. No, hold on. That's what I just heard.
The light bulb was invented by Edison. It was patented a year before Latimer did anything with the light bulb, and he came up with an improvement on the light bulb.
A filament improvement.
Yeah, and it was a good one, but it wasn't the final one. The final one was using tungsten, which was neither one of those guys. It was, I think it came out of Edison's labs, though. And Latimer ended up working in Edison's shop.
Yeah, he didn't get screwed.
No, he did very good for himself. Yeah, he didn't get screwed at all. And he was one of the contributors to a lot of other inventions. He was one of those inventive guys, happened to be black, and he happened to add a little. In fact, he probably the improvement on the light bulb was probably, not to say that I can go back that far in time and and actually say this, but it's the same way it goes on today. Look what I did. I should be working for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he ended up working for him. So there you have it. So,
hey,
so what, Joe?
How about that George Washington University professor, Dr. Krug? He came out as being not black, but Jewish and from Kansas. As if that has something to do
Another
with it.
Rachel Dolezal or whatever her name is.
This is really, but here, this is from the note from the university to staff and students. It'll be fun reading. Many of you understandably have many questions in the wake of the Medium post by GW faculty member Jessica Krug. While the university reviews the situation, Dr. Krug will not be teaching her class this semester. We are working on developing a number of options for students in those classes, which will be communicated to affected students as soon as possible. We want to acknowledge the pain this situation has caused for many in our community and recognize that many students, faculty, staff, and alumni are hurting. Students who have been affected are encouraged to seek support from our Office of Diversity, Equity, and Community Engagement, ODCE, Counseling and Psychological Services, CAPS, or Office of Advocacy and Support, OAS. Assistance for faculty and staff is available through our well-being hotline.
Oh, man.
Hey, they're hurting. Please know that we are taking this situation seriously and are here to support our community. That's from the provost. From the provost, I tell you. How about that?
Around for a long time. Not just by the fact that this guy was a phony, but it's just like, oh, well, whatever he said, because he's not really black.
Yeah.
He's no good. He took advantage of the situation, which he obviously did.
No, of course. There's just there's fun stuff going on. It's just fun stuff to shake your head at, like this USC professor who teaches Chinese. Students were all angry. Hold on. I just lost John again. I'm glad I saw it. I'd be telling this whole darn story and have to tell it over again.
He took advantage of the situation, which he obviously did.
See where he dropped out. There's just there's fun stuff going on. It's just fun stuff to shake your head at, like this USC professor. Come on, Jean-Claude.
You know what I'm going to need is a limiter.
You think it was the limiter problem again?
Yep.
So the software, for some reason, has its own compression that's bringing it up, and then it kills itself. That's a bug.
I'm going to send a note to the guy bitching about this. This has happened all throughout the show, and I don't think this has happened before, and I do overmodulate anyway.
Yes.
So I think this is an upgrade.
Mo had the same thing. We noticed this yesterday.
Yeah, so this is new.
Yeah, it's a bug. Bug hunters. Audio bug hunters. Adam Curry and John C. Dvorak. Pew, 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 pew. Okay, I will start again. Stay tuned, everybody. This USC professor. Do you see this? The professor who teaches Chinese?
Yeah.
You saw what happened with this guy?
Yeah. He got canceled.
Well, I don't know if he got canceled, but students were upset and left the class. Here it is.
You have a lot of ers, and this is culturally specific. So based on your native language, like in China, the common word is that. So in China, it might be nega. So there's different words that you'll hear in different countries, but they're vocal disfluencies. It's saying that,
So apparently people heard what they wanted to hear, and they just went nuts over it. So he should have not even just not taught that part of the class because it's triggering.
Oh, these students are the worst.
No. This is the worst. If there's such a thing as the worst clip of the day, this is going to be it. And I think it's important to hear it. This is Idris Robinson, who is a professor in the philosophy department of University of New Mexico. And he did a lecture recently. And it's all a metaphor because he is going to cite something from a James Baldwin story, but it's worth hearing because he may be onto something, not the literal version of what he's going to say here, but some version of it, of which is a derivative that we're living right now when it comes to Black Lives Matter Inc. would be maybe more fair to say. and what is happening in our country.
Identity politics, intersectionality, and social privilege discourse, they're all the modes of the police. What's more, and above all, is that each of these discourses ignore the very morbid, scary, and terrifying libidinal politics that undergirds race in this country. It took someone as courageous as James Baldwin to say this, but the problem is that everyone is afraid to repeat it. If you read his story, his phenomenal short story, Going to Meet My Man, you can really acutely see the dynamics of racism in this country. To briefly summarize the story, it starts in the bedroom of a white couple, a white heterosexual couple. The white man is struggling with impotence. How does he get over his impotence? He remembers back to a time as a child where he is brought to a lynching. At that lynching, the corpse was not only mutilated, it was sexually mutilated, and he was given the genitalia. Once he remembered his being handed the genitalia, he was then able to become erect. This is deep stuff. No one likes talking about it, but this is the core of racism that we need to touch. What's more, I think no one wants to touch this part of the race problem, is because we're all implicated in it. It's obvious that white liberals get off on the videos of black murder. It's even more obvious that there are black liberals who are more than happy to sell these videos of black death for their own careerist goals. But if we don't take into account these libidinal drives within racism, we cannot explain how and why Ahmaud Arbery was killed. It has nothing to do with the police. It has to do with what is driving American society as such.
I got to ask Hotep Jesus about this.
Where did you get that clip?
It was sent to me. It's the whole lecture. He's a black guy, this Idris, just as an aside. Isn't that disturbing?
Yes, that's sick.
But he's a professor at University of New Mexico in philosophy.
Well, he's a sick man.
Well, I'm going to get some. I'm going to do some research on this. I thought I needed to play that because, moreover, because he said it's hard to talk about. Yeah, no kidding. I found it triggering.
Well, it's hard to talk about because it's largely a construct that he probably put together himself, and it's bullshit.
Hold on, man. James Baldwin wrote that stuff. Was that bullshit?
He's a fiction writer with a grudge. He was a very
fiction writer with a grudge.
Fiction writer with a grudge. He had a grudge. He was like, he hated the heteros. I mean, he was gay, major gay black man in an era when it was very uncool. It was hard to do that way. Yeah. It wasn't cool, and considered like this great literary. I didn't know this story. I've read his material. He's a good writer. But I don't know.
You missed this particular. Sick. You missed this ditty.
Yeah, I sure did.
Yeah. Anyway, don't worry, everybody. This stuff is going on everywhere. A dude named Ben sent in this beautiful note about diversity being integrated into his IT department, and how he can't say anything. He can't even there's online forums, and they're supposed to be able to discuss anonymously. Oh yeah. And then they just post big pictures of, okay, white man. That's the meme now. In the Netherlands, it's everywhere. This is not just the United States. And the Netherlands has a very different history and a slave culture, if we can call it that. So this is a worldwide thing that's going on.
Yeah.
That's good to remind people. Can you take us into something happy before we do the donation segment?
I want to stay. We're on this topic. I want to play this flawed report.
Okay.
This is Kentucky. This is PBS, the news, the weekend, the substitute guy, and this is good. I want you to listen to this report and tell me what's wrong with it.
In Louisville, Kentucky, far-right and self-described militia members gathered for a rally and march this morning. Organizers described it as an event to support police and oppose far-left groups they called domestic terrorists. Hundreds attended, many of them armed, and marched near downtown after a rally at a city park. In the early afternoon, there were some scuffles with counter-protesters. Louisville has been one of the centers of nationwide Black Lives Matter demonstrations since the police killing of 26-year-old Breonna Taylor in March. Louisville Metro police officers shot Taylor while executing a no-knock search warrant. Taylor, who was an EMT, was unarmed.
Wow, that was very confusing what happened in that report.
Well, besides that, what about the end of the report? He makes it sound as though, and this really irks me. I mean, these guys can...
Yeah, I know what you're saying, of course.
These guys can be honest. What happened with the Breonna Taylor shooting, it wasn't like they barged in and... if you play the end of that again, it sounds like the cops busted in, saw her, and shot her dead on the spot. That's exactly what it sounds like.
Yeah, let's play in the end.
Shot Taylor while marched. Louisville Metro police officers shot Taylor while executing a no-knock search warrant. Taylor, who was an EMT, was unarmed.
All right.
She was sleeping with her boyfriend. The boyfriend was armed. I don't know if that counts in this report, but PBS doesn't want to include it. They busted in with this stupid no-knock warrant. You've seen these things executed before, so they yell police, they bust in.
Yeah, on cops.
And the boyfriend took a gun, said they were intruders, took a shot, hit the sergeant right in the leg, and they gunned down the two of them. But they didn't kill him. I think he's still alive. But
that's a very good explanation.
It's a minor. Is it minor to put the details in, or is it better just to make it sound as though the way he did, they busted in, saw her, and shot her dead. She was by herself. I don't know what am I doing here. Boom, dead. I mean, this is unconscionable. This is the M5M at its worst. PBS and NPR right now are leading the way in competition with the MSNBCs and CNNs.
That's very much like... Video in black man suffocation shows cop put hood on him. Cops put hood on Daniel Prude and press face down for 2 minutes. Protests erupt after Daniel Prude died of asphyxiation when cops put hood on his head and press face down for 2 minutes. This is a blatant lie. The hood is a spit hood. The spit hood is used. We've gone over this many times. Bad Chad in Boulder. He has told me all about this. You get someone who has excited delirium, they're coming out of, if you bring them back from an OD with, naloxone, but if it's fentanyl, they can be in an incredibly violent state. They'll be spitting, so that's a spit hood. This guy, from a toxicology report, he asphyxiated from the drugs. And they were protected. You don't want these guys spitting on you. And most of the time, EMTs are trying to help a person like this. Trying to help. And the cops are assisting the EMTs so they can get him strapped down and, jack him with something so they calm him down, or they'll eventually die, if they can even save him at that moment. But no. That's how it's reported. It's
unconscionable reporting by people who are trained journalists, and they're giving us bad information just to stir things up. That's the only possible reason to do this.
China is asshole.
I'm going to show my support by donating to No Agenda. Imagine all the people who could do that. Oh yeah, that'd be fab. Yeah, on No Agenda in the morning.
All right, so let's thank a few people for show 1273.
No, 1275.
Oh, 1275. I'm off by 2.
For sure.
But Heather Rodriguez isn't off by 2. She came in with $191.33 from Stockton, California. And this is for her husband's knighthood.
Oh.
So he wants to be known as Knight Dagbloodbane of Mad River.
Uh-huh.
And he needs Stoli, Elite.
Yes.
And standing rib roast at the round table, along with the de-douching.
Okay. Guys, you get a
de-douched.
You get a Stoli Elite and a standing rib roast? Yeah, it's okay.
Sounds good.
It's being taken care of.
And we'll give you some karma at the end. Sir Ron, the Oriental drummer, 149, is a birthday call out. Nathan Cook in Seven Hills, New South Wales, 146. Borislav Marinov, Sir Borislav Marinov to you in Trabuco Canyon, California, 127. Sir Ed of the Woodsedge in Herpennoord, Netherlands.
Yes.
9941.
And he also says he needs Moving Karma for Sir Bob of the Clueless Nation. Yeah, and that'll be from his brother, Sir Ed of the Wood's Edge. So we'll put that on there along with the birthday.
I said Wood's Sedge.
Yeah, Wood's Sedge.
Eric Grumpert in Goodyear, Arizona, 9553. Ryan Smith in Raleigh, North Carolina, 9333. Eric, these are a lot of these. I guess there's no birthday call-outs, so never mind.
Is Goodyear where they actually invented that tire? Or is that where they make them? Or is that where the company started? Or the blimp? Is that where they invented the blimp?
The Goodyear company goes way back, so it's in Ohio or someplace like that.
Oh, could be.
Ryan Smith in Raleigh, North Carolina, 9333. Eric Aschendorf, 93. Steve DeCosta, 93.
These are all birthdays. Texas. Yeah, these are all birthday donations, so this is nice. Thank you.
Yeah, 93. I'm sorry, they're all birthday donations. And you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. Drew Sample, 93. Sir Woody of the Falls in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Borislav Marinov in Trabuco Canyon. We already said these people. But 93. Paul 8008 in Greeley, Colorado. Colin McCormick in Raheny, Dublin, Ireland. Martinez Nicholas Mentz, 6006, Holland. Timothy Worth in Overland Park, Kansas, 57. Gummy Nerds, Viscount of the Troll Room, Green Bay, Wisconsin. Go Packers, 5676. Jeff Kenyon, a birthday in Clontarf, Queensland, 5627. Danny Haynes in Grace Stands, New South Wales, another Aussie, 56. This is another birthday. These are birthday gifts too, 56. Yannick Hannekamp, 56. He's in Netherlands. Stephen Smith, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm listening. I'm taking it in. I'm feeling the love.
Stephen Smith, also 56 from Maynardville, Tennessee. John Greiner in Hendersonville, Tennessee. That's back to back. Andre Matetic of Parts Unknown. Sarah Gardner, also 56 from Wilmington, North Carolina. Happy belated birthday. Katie Berryhill, 56. Sonia Bosenberg in Madison, Wisconsin. Henry Kakazoli. Hey, Kakazoli. It's Henry Kakazoli in Lavinia.
Hank, yeah.
Hank in Lavinia, Michigan, also 56. John Geyser in New Milford, Connecticut. These are all 56. Francine Hardaway.
Hold on a second.
Francine.
Dame Francine. No, she actually sent me a note.
She's from Phoenix. When did she move out of New York?
I think she's always been from Phoenix. I think.
Not that.
I thought so. No, she said. Well, she sent me a nice note, and she said, it's that time again. So nice, everything's going well. I'm always happy to hear from Dame Francine. I don't know if she listens all the time anymore.
Yeah, probably not.
Excuse me. No, you don't know. Could be.
Robert Witt is next on the list. Also 56. And the last two are Sir John Knight of the St. Patrick, patron of Saint of Engineers in Heber Springs, Arkansas. And last on the 56 well-wishers is Sir Midnight of the Rivers. Best wishes, happy birthday. That's a nice little list. Lee North, 5333. Lord Michael Gates, Baron of the Rest of Colorado, 5280. Jeffrey Fife in Oakley, California, 5150. Adam Sandberg, 51. And he's the one who's using ExchangeX or whatever it's called. And he wants to call out Neil as a douchebag. Douchebag. Timothy Daniels, 5005, and the following people are $50 donators, name and location if I have it, which starting with Sir Matthew Januszewski in Chicago, Michael Cox in Reston, Virginia, and Mary Huey in Parts Unknown, and that's it. Very short list of 50s.
Yes, you missed, I think you missed Timothy Daniels, I think.
I'm pretty sure I said Timothy Daniels, 50-50. I didn't get the de-douching.
No, well, there were two de-douchings. That's why I wanted to do him and Katie Berryhill both needed a de-douche.
You've been de-douched.
And everybody will be enjoying some
Wait.
Sorry.
It looks like Michael Cox and Reston wanted a de-douching, too.
All right.
You've been de-douched.
Okay. Yeah, those weren't. We do need kind of those de-douching things. Although, no. Anyway, fine. Perfect. We're going to give away some karma, some jobs karma requested. Well, we don't give it away. We just do as commanded. And that will also apply to anyone who donated under $50. That is our cutoff for mentions. And, of course, a great cutoff for people who'd rather be anonymous. So, I'm tangled up. Sorry. My phone.
Pull the Dvorak.
I'm still pulling the Dvorak. Oh, there we go. You know where you move and your head goes jerk because the headphone wire is stuck. Thank you, everybody. Also, those who have recurring donations as a part of one of our subscription programs that keeps everything running, and it ensures that you will continue to have the best podcast in the universe. You're the producers. That's why we address you as such, and we are very, very proud to be working with you on this show. If you want to help us for Thursday's show, go to
Dvorak.org/NA. Jobs, 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 and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got karma.
And here's what we're looking like for our birthdays. We've got Toby from the Applebee's. The Applebee's say, hey, happy birthday, Toby. He'll be 25 this week. Jeff Kenyon says happy birthday to his son, Sir Jake Kenyon, celebrates on the 8th. Sir Ed of the Woods Edge, his brother, Sir Bob, will be celebrating. He's Sir Bob of the Clueless Nation, 42 years old on the 9th. And we have Jennifer saying happy birthday to her son, James. He'll be he was 2 years old on March 3rd. Kind of belated, but happy birthday anyway from the best podcast in the universe. We have a note. The Shill's back office tour is coming to Horn Rapids Park in West Richland, Washington on the 9th from 6 to 8 p.m. doing a meetup. I think these are also listed on noagendameetups.com. So you can go get more of the information there. And this is I think it's fun, the Shill with his whole family. You can go hang out with them. It's, I believe this is an educational tour for his children in disguise. Do you get that idea, John?
Could be, but the kids are a kick. They'd be fun to meet.
Oh, really? Oh, that's quite an endorsement coming from you.
Huh?
That's very nice. We have a couple of dames and knights, which is very exciting. We have quite a few recognizable names here on the list, so if we can get a nice sword for everybody.
There we go.
The Blade of Champions. Nice. Perfect. Up on the podium, please. Jennifer. Okay. Alois Liebel. Manuel Obando, C. Mike, and Heather's husband. All of you are welcome here at the round table of the No Agenda Knights and Dames. I'm very proud to pronouncedicate thee as Dame Jennifer of Northern Mexico, Sir Proteus, protector of the ones and zeros, Sir Sergeant Postal, Sir C. Mike, and Knights Dagwood Bane of Mad River. For you, we've got Hookers and Blow, Rent Boys, and Chardonnay at the round table. Also, Absinthe and Edibles, Kansas City Strip, and Cabernet Sauvignon. We got a Stoli Elite and a Standing Rib Roast. We got ginger ale and gerbils. We got breast milk and pablum. We always have the mutton and meat, and it's right here for you through the door, labeled noagendanation.com/rings. That's where you can get your, you hand off some information to the shill where you can send everything, get your ring size. And the signet ring, the sealing wax, and your certificate are on their way. And thank you so much for your courage and for supporting the best podcast in the universe.
No agenda.
Okay, there's a quick meetup report from the West Seattle Burien homeschooling meetup. This is very interesting. This is, I think, the second one they've done so far. This is Stephen and Hannah, who have started libertyschoolfromhome.org, libertyschoolfromhome.org. And they've been meeting with parents and human resources. Our gathering grew this time and included a third family, Sir Jared of South Burien and his wife Stephanie and their 4 children. We also had Jennifer, a local tutor, as well as Jeremy, Jen, and an additional 4 neighborhood human resources. In total, the meetup counts were 7 adults and 9 human resources. A discussion was lively with concern for the school year that has just begun in the greater Seattle area. Some families were working within the system, some were newly minted homeschoolers, but all were concerned about the extremely limited level of social interactions that the districts are implementing for our safety. So they've established a mailing list, which you can get through that libertyschoolfromhome.org, and that will also serve as a school from home oriented counterpart to noagendameetups.com. I would say more partner, not just counterpart. So that's, I just want to make sure everyone knows, because I think that's very important that you get together. And if No Agenda Meetups helps facilitate that, all the better. And here are the meetups coming today, actually. The pig roast in South Jersey kicks off at 5 o'clock. Yes, you read that correctly. A pig roast in Medford Lakes, New Jersey.
Nice.
Yeah. Jersey strong.
Skill to cook a whole pig. They probably have it in the ground or on a spit.
We want pictures, we want video, and a meetup report for sure. So go to noagendameetups.com immediately to get info on that. Wednesday, the Eindhoven Strijp S meetup at 6 o'clock Central Euro Summer Time. This will be the first meetup in Eindhoven, the Netherlands, at the Ketelhuis in the middle of Strijp S. Also on Wednesday, that is as I mentioned earlier, the back office listening tour. Oh, protest number 1, hashtag. Friday, the 11th, Seattle's No Agenda 9/11 meetup, Stewart Park at 7:30. Patrick's your organizer. Meet at shelter number 5. September 11th, wow. We haven't even had the typical pre-promotion for this event, have we?
7-Eleven?
9/11.
I mean 9/11?
Yeah.
7-11. Yeah, I know. I don't know what they're going to do.
And, we're not going to have the reading of names at the monument because, Rona.
Yeah.
Anyway, the Christian, there'll be meetup at Christian's Coffin, as the Christian Coffin's 9/11 birthday in Castleberry, Florida. Okay. Christian turns 37 on the 19th. Well, he'll be on the 19th anniversary of 9/11. And be sure to check out noagendameetups.com for details. And then just coming up in September, we've got the 12th, Niagara Falls, Midland, Texas, Agoura Hills, Suisun City, California. How do I pronounce that? Suisun.
I'm sorry?
Suisun City, California.
Oh, Suisun City.
Suisun City. Columbus, Grove City, Ohio, the September 18th, Amsterdam. We have another back office listening tour in Missoula, Montana. The 19th, Springfield, Missouri. The 26th, Monroe, Washington. The 26th, Long Beach, California. The 29th, Fort Collins, Colorado is where the back office listening tour will be. It's obvious these things are good for our health right now. Amygdalas need to be shrunk. And you can do that by hanging out with people who understand, will not be triggered, and just want to say stuff. And if we're clumsy, it's okay. NoAgendaMeetups.com. That whole thing is like a party.
Sometimes you want to go hang out with all the nights and days. You want to be where you won't be triggered or held to blame. You want to be where everybody feels the same. It's like a party.
Yeah.
Well, I have a few follow-up end of show stuff. I have, I don't know if I should play this at the very end. It's an anti-Trump. It's one of the Trump's America ads, Joe Biden 30-second ad, which is promoting the idea that all this violence is because of Trump. And you're going to get more of it if you reelect the guy, which seems like a form of extortion I don't think that people are going to like.
This is Trump's America. He won't bring us together. He doesn't want to, and never will. He only divides, inflames, infuriates, and tears people apart, always making things worse. It's Trump's America. And it's time to turn the page.
I'm Joe Biden, and I approve this message.
Build back better.
It's a new jingle we have for the campaign.
Oh,
it's our own version.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
I want to at least make some comment on this bull crap quote, Trump being Trump said something bad. He said everyone's an idiot.
Oh, yeah.
I do have this, I have the PBS on this one, which has, I believe, is a kind of a semi-whipsaw.
Okay.
And this is the PBS on Trump war comments.
President Donald Trump spent much of today at his Virginia golf club and continued to deny news reports that he has disparaged military service members. The Atlantic, citing anonymous sources, reported on Thursday that the president called Americans who died in war, quote, losers and suckers. He allegedly made the comments while on a 2018 trip to France before a visit to an American military cemetery was canceled. The administration and Mr. Trump say the trip was called off due to a heavy rainstorm. The president denied he made the comments again yesterday at a late afternoon White House news conference.
No, it was a fake story written by a magazine that was probably not going to be around much longer. But it was a totally fake story, and that was confirmed by many people who were actually there.
Yesterday, Fox News correspondent Jennifer Griffin said she confirms parts of the Atlantic story.
John, I've spoken with two senior U.S. officials who were on the trip to France who confirmed to me key details in the Atlantic article and the quotes attributed to the president. My source, a former Trump administration official, told me when the president spoke about the Vietnam War, he said it was a stupid war. Anyone who went was a sucker.
Mr. Trump said Griffin, quote, should be fired for this kind of reporting.
Number of issues.
Your take, sir. Yes, your take, sir.
Do you have any?
Yeah, I have a couple of issues, but yeah, go ahead.
Let me get mine out of the way. So we had this woman come on Fox, and she's like, one of the anti-Trumpers on Fox, and she makes they make this sound like he's saying this disparaging stuff, and they related it to World War II, talking about why he didn't visit that one graveyard. Right. But then she comes out and makes the quote that, well, he said the Vietnam War was stupid, and the people that went to the Vietnam War were suckers. Is not the same as people in World War II or any other war for that matter, even though whether he said this or not, I wouldn't be surprised if he did say it at some point in time to somebody, because a lot of people felt the Vietnam War was stupid. And I worked with the guys that went to the Vietnam War, and many of them felt that they were suckered into going. So that one, I'll just let that slide a little bit. And let's go back to Bolton, who was at all these things at the time, said this didn't happen, and Bolton's got no love lost for Trump. The second thing was when I said, well, why are these guys anonymous? Why do we have all these anonymous people confirming anonymous people? And then when she said that these were ex-Trump officials, there is zero. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, don't worry, I'm here.
There is zero reason for any of them to not come out and say who they are. They don't work for Trump anymore. They're not going to lose their jobs. They're going to probably get a book deal if they came out. But no, they didn't say anything. And then I want to comment on Trump's comment that, this magazine's not going to be around much longer. Does he have a clue? This magazine is owned by Lauren Jobs, one of the richest women in the world that can keep this magazine going
for as long as she wants. For as long as she wants. Yep.
So this whole thing is bullcrap. And then it dawned on me while I was watching one more report about it, and then they had these women. They got these clips. This was on the regular news. I think it was on CBS. Or ABC, one of the two. But they had these clips of these women, and underneath each one of it, I hate Donald Trump for saying this. My husband died in World War II. And then underneath it says Gold Star Family. This is a rerun of the Gold Star Family fiasco from 2016, where Trump said something disparaging about this guy who came up in the Democrat convention with his wife in a hijab, and she's all covered up, and he's going on, bitching and moaning. And so the Democrats are back to the old playbook. They're just using the same old playbook.
So the thing that I thought was pretty funny is, who was it from Fox News? What was her name? It doesn't matter.
Some woman named, I think her name was Grenell. No, not Grenell. I got Grenell's on the brain.
Some woman named
I don't know.
Grenell.
She's some. I've never seen her before on Fox, and she's like the new breed that's there. They really don't like Trump. They're brought in by James Murdoch.
But what she said, because I was listening for kind of a whipsaw, is she said, I can confirm that they confirmed this to me. It's like, okay. So, it's just, all right. What I can confirm is, having seen the weather reports from the chief pilot, that, yeah, that was no weather to go flying the president around in any type of helicopter. 1,000-foot ceiling is doable, but if it can go back down to 500 and you're flying over, it depends on the terrain. Also, it wasn't clear if it was AGL or not. I presume it was, so above ground level. But no, having made decisions, like I would say no, weather's off, Mr. President, no problem. So that part, not a problem. I don't think anyone buys this. But Trump is taking it seems to be taking it very personally, because I believe he can garner even more support for this stupid idea from the Democratic Party. It's stupid. As you say, they've done this before. It doesn't work very well.
Well, I'm sure a few people get taken in by this stuff, but that weren't really leaning toward Trump to begin with. But it is a replay, and everything they've done, except for the riots, which I don't know how they think that's going to get them votes, by condoning the riots and lying about the riots, being peaceful, and the rest of it. I think these guys are just making every imaginable mistake on top of Biden being like an idiot.
No, there's another mistake. They are highlighting Kanye, and they're trying to do it, and by connecting it to Trump campaign or President Trump. He's on 10 states now. I get so many texts. Hey, are you voting for Biden? Or, everyone's sold the numbers now. So besides your 30330 or your Trump, which is, 8822 something. I can't remember what the numbers are. But, so those are the numbers that you use to sign up. And I've signed up to both. But now I'm getting, hey, it's Claire McCaskill. Oh, thanks, Claire. Hey, it's Tim Scott. It's like, they're texting me personally. It's so great. And then you get, hey, it's Brad. Brad from Houston. Are you voting? Are you registered? Are you voting for Joe? I'm like, no, and I'm voting for Kanye. Because I like to text back to these people. Well, okay. Hey, FYI, he's not on the ballot. And I reply, no, I'm writing him in. Oh, okay. Have a great weekend. So I waste these people, the idiots. They don't even try. Maybe they get paid per message. I don't know. So they're trying to, but what's happening is, it's absorbing energy. He's kind of in between Trump, and it's distracting. It's almost as bad as in 2016. All the attention they gave to Trump made Trump president. So here's Kanye's bit. Why is it not playing here? Here we go.
2020, I'ma run the whole election.
Despite his predictions, Kanye West is not going to be the next president. So far, the rap superstar has only made the ballot in 11 states, missing so many others he can't mathematically win. Yet across the country, GOP operatives and lawyers are bolstering West's presidential bid, betting his campaign will skim off support from Joe Biden and boost President Trump's chances of getting reelected.
Unfortunately, I think it's more of a ploy that the Republicans are kind of using Kanye to, diminish Joe Biden's votes.
Critics like Quentin James, who works to elect black candidates, say GOP efforts to prop up West are particularly shameless in light of West's diagnosis with bipolar disorder, which is marked by swings between mania and depression. West has said he does not take medication for it.
It's really sad, and, we wish Kanye the best in terms of getting his mental health under control. But again, this is not what we want to see in politics.
I'm not running for president. I'm walking.
Still, Republicans are turning up to help West. One source tells CNN that GOP operatives believed they had the Trump campaign's blessing to aid West's efforts. While West has polled around 2% with registered voters, any third-party candidate can pose a risk in a tight race.
Kanye West will not garner enough votes to become president, but he can garner enough votes to determine the outcome.
Well, of course he can. But they really underestimate Kanye. I've always said it. You're underestimating him. He's going to make a difference. And he's walking for president. Yes, there we go.
Yeah, he's something of a genius.
He is. I think that he has been subject to a lot of mental. It's too easy to say MK Ultra, but mental abuse, coding of terms. It's a lot of going on in him, and I think that his path through God has given him some clarity, so that comes out. But sometimes, just crazy shit fires in his brain, and he's still like, it's.
Well, he's bipolar. That's probably genuine.
Oh, I don't doubt it at all. But
people that are bipolar have these have characteristics that are pretty common amongst most of them. So it used to be called manic depression, and they have a mania, which usually makes them extremely successful.
Yeah.
But the depression part is the problem, because it goes long and deep and lasts for a while, and it's very hard to control. And they control it with drugs, but it takes away a lot of the creativity.
There was one of our producers, I think, sent me a note or some research that showed that it's possible that people with bipolar disease can be extremely effective leaders. I hope I have it in the show notes. I'll see if I can find it.
Well, that's because when they have the energy is
phenomenal,
extremely charismatic.
Phenomenal. Yeah. All right. Hey, we should shut this show down. You got anything else before we leave? Do you have something of import that we have to throw out to the girls and boys, the ladies and the gentlemen?
Extinction Rebellion's back to work. Oil is over, if you didn't know.
I mean, something really nice to get out. Something that's.
I got some Canadians bitching, but that's common. That's all they do. So that's no good. I'm good.
No, I guess that. Well, okay. Maybe I have. We should do the Amazon cell phones in the tree. Does that sound compelling to you?
I'll listen.
Okay, Amazon cell phones in a tree. It's a hack of the gig economy.
Delivery drivers are basically staking out these routes by trying to get as close to Whole Foods as possible, and the phones are what Amazon system looks for when it assigns routes. If it has a route that has to be done immediately, it is looking for drivers that are close by. So these drivers are combining both a phone in the tree to have the closest proximity to Amazon, along with some sort of like software running on the device to snag the route as soon as it becomes available.
So the hack that they figured out, and
I love it.
Amazon owns Whole Foods, is they have some app, and I guess it's all Android phones. Looks like it. So they figured that there must be some software in circulation, because now this picture of these trees, like 20 cell phones dangling in it with rubber bands and stuff, and they're all there just the minute an order comes to deliver from Whole Foods to someone, boop, they're right in the vicinity. This, my friend, is America. That's how we roll here.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's a good clip. Good clip.
It's uplifting, isn't it? Yeah, I feel good about it. End of show mixes from Nostradamus and Jesse Coy Nelson. And right after this show, we have Grumpy Old Benz on noagendastream.com. Make sure you listen for that. And we will gladly see you again on Thursday. And who knows what the world will bring us in the meantime. Remember, Joe Rogan should be coming out tomorrow or Tuesday. And along with that, you'll find out more about Podcasting 2.0 as well. Podcastindex.org. Ha! Coming to you from Opportunity Zone 33 here in the capital of the Drone Star State, Austin, Texas, FEMA region number 6 on the governmental maps in the morning, everybody. I'm Adam Curry.
And from Northern Silicon Valley, I'm John C. Dvorak.
We return on Thursday. Remember us at Dvorak.org/NA. Until then, adios, mofos, and such.
Within the confines of a steel Dr. Fauci, do protests increase the spread of the virus?
Crowding together, particularly when you're not wearing a mask, contributes to the spread of the virus.
Should we limit the protesting?
I don't think that's relevant to...
Well, you just said if it increases the spread of the virus. I'm just asking, should we limit it?
Well, I'm not in a position to determine what the government can do in a forceful way.
Well, you make all kinds of recommendations. You make comments on dating, on baseball, on everything you can imagine. I'm just asking, you just said that protests increase the spread. I'm just asking you, should we try to limit the protest?
No, I think I would leave that to people who have more of a position to do that. I can tell you.
Government stopping people from going to church, Dr. Fauci?
Yeah.
I just need to keep my mouth shut for a little while. I think it'll get better.
I am a doctor. Have a seat. We gotta fill out these forms.
Tens of thousands of people protesting in the streets, arm in arm, sharing megaphones. That protesting situation spread the infection. People are afraid. And public policy and policy moves by leaders must take into account the facts as well as the public's perception, because the public fear is the contagion here, and the public fear is what's distorting the thinking and creating irrational decisions by people, including by your own public school officials.
Dr. Atlas, as always, I am grateful for your time.
I am a doctor.
The very violent reality of the president, in which policing is a kind of public health crisis. Policing is a public health crisis.
The system that we currently have needs police. But no, it doesn't need police if you can imagine a world without police.
I can picture in my mind a system where we have a specialized sort of mental health unit.
You have no idea what you're talking about.
Everything should be done by a mental health or social worker. We need no police.
Policing is a public health crisis. Up to 80% of police calls are responding to mental health crises, drug overdose, suicide, and domestic dispute.
She really glosses over domestic disputes quickly. Domestic disputes are very destructive. One of the worst problems and one of the most volatile, dangerous situations you as a police officer can come in contact with. For her to gloss over that shows her dipshittedness.
She never mentions robbery, thievery, burglary, muggings.
Policing is a public health crisis.
No, you don't see that because you're not pointing to any studies or any actual evidence.
Policing is a public health crisis.
Jeez, dipshit.
I'm doing the work.
The best podcast in the universe.
Adios, mofo.
Dvorak.org/NA.
2 million people have to die.
You're listening to NoAgendaStream.com. All talk, no commercials, no agenda.
Podcast, information, and entertainment. You're listening to the No Agenda Stream.
I hate you, but I agree with you on a lot of cases.
Hello and welcome to episode number 91 of Grumpy Old Ben's for Friday, September 4th, 2020. I am Darren O'Neill, coming to you live from a bunker deep in the heart of Middle America, just outside of Chirac, where the weather is nice, it's sunny, and somebody is sending me alcohol.
And from America's left coast, where if there's anything more important than my ego around, I want it caught and shot now. I'm Ryan Bemrose.
I mean, to you or to the rest of the world?
Does it matter?
No, I guess not. I suppose not. And I should probably turn my ringer off.
It's good to want things.
Well, yeah, that is absolutely true. But
it's always good to be quoting Zappoid Beetle Brooks. So,
well, and everybody's okay. Here's a question for you. What percentage of Grumpy Old Ben's listeners do you believe have read at least The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, the book, and or the whole trilogy, which there are 4 books?
Well, there's 5 books in the trilogy.
There are now.
Oh, wait. Yes, the one of the taglines on the back of the book for the 5th one was in the increasingly inappropriately named Hitchhiker's Trilogy.
There's some good stuff, and then you have the Dirk Gently stuff.
It's fantastic.
Yeah,
and every Grumpy Old Ben's listener needs to have immersed themselves in that at least once, even if it's only the 2005 movie or whatever year that came out.
That was bad.
It was a bad movie, but it was still somewhat hilarious and had a lot of the points in it, so you would understand some of what they were saying.
That is true. But it's hard. It's one of those books that it's hard to capture exactly what they were trying to get across. I mean, it's just so out there at times that trying to make it into a movie just didn't really work. And
the first one wasn't even a book originally. It was a radio play.
Yes. Yeah.
So if you're ever wondering why the first 1/3 of the book didn't really seem to flow very well as a story, it's because he took the script from a radio play and just adapted it to writing.
Douglas Adams had a intriguing sense of humor, no doubt about that. And yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of stuff I know from the BBC that I've got the radio plays. There was a game made too. One of the early computer games was the Titanic, just some really bizarre stuff that the guy put out. No question about it. But I do believe it is a Grumpy Old Ben's kind of fan thing.
Yeah, Douglas Adams isn't a good topic for this. It's going to make me lose my grumpy.
It's something that makes you happy. Okay, we've found something now. If you ever want to take Sir Ryan Bemrose out of his grump, what you just got to do is get him talking about Douglas Adams. But yeah, I'm watching the little camera out front of my house because I am in a bunker, literally below grade. We've talked about that before. And
so what you're saying is you're spying on everybody outside.
Yes, well, just right out front of my window here of the house. It's good that
So you're spying on all the peeping Toms who are staring in your windows.
Right. I mean, some people have Ring doorbells. No, I just put full on cameras in the windows and point them outside because I got a bunch of probably like 5 to 10. And so not all of them were
good. My technique is a little bit different. I don't have a camera. What I have is a 2nd story window where I can look down on people walking up my driveway.
Well, yeah, you could do that. But see, I'm in a bunker, so I'm not at the front of the house. So I wouldn't be able to do that. And it's good because at the front of the house right now, one of the houses right across the street's getting a new roof. So we'd be hearing a lot of pounding and some Tejano music. So there's some, I mean, it's not, I don't mind the music. I actually kind of enjoyed that when I opened up the window to see what was going on. But FedEx, we got a robocall last night, and I just assume that all of these robocalls that you get are fake because they usually are. And it was just a really bad, it started out with like a weird little doodle-doo-doo, some weird music playing, which I thought was really kind of weird too. But then they go into the automated voice saying, hey, you're going to have a package delivered tomorrow that needs a signature 21 and over to be able to get the package. And I'm like, I didn't order anything. I certainly didn't order anything that would be signature required. And I don't know. I mean, I guess I get why, but you go to the tracking number online and it shows, there's going to be a delivery from one town here in the Chicago area to my little town here in the Chicago area. So, okay, it's a legitimate tracking number that was given, but it doesn't tell you who it's coming from.
Well, they're legitimately tracking you anyway.
Well, of course, they got to track the package. So I called up FedEx and they put me through to a guy in India who I could barely understand, but I understood him enough once I got him to spell the things he was saying. Because I'm like, well, where is this coming from? And he gave me the name of a local liquor chain. There's like 6 stores in the Chicago area, none right by the house here. But obviously they had my name, so it wasn't like just the wrong address or anything like that. So it seems,
or the people who listen to your shows are better at cyber stalking than you give them credit for.
That's possible. And I mean, if they're going to do that and then send me booze, okay, that seems win-win to me.
Honestly, that's the kind of cyber stalking I can get behind.
Yes. I mean, it's usually, people that want to come through.
Which makes me disappointed that I've hid my address so well, I guess.
Right. You're like, let me start publishing that. If I knew there were going to be alcohol deliveries.
Somebody goes and buys a $200 bottle of liquor and just addresses Ryan Bemrose or Sir Ryan Bemrose, Left Coast.
It may get there.
It'll get there.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Just try it. But
it'll get drank regardless.
Don't put it through the United States Postal Service. So then it'll never get there. It will never get there. Did you see
well, at least someone will drink it, I can assure you.
Yeah, somebody will eventually get it. Did you see the post I made to No Agenda Social yesterday about the vinyl that I ordered?
I'm pretty sure if I saw anything about vinyl, I dismissed it as spam, but go on.
Probably, but I just posted a little map because I ordered some vinyl. Billie Eilish, so Fletcher will like that. The live thing that she did at Third Man Records, Jack White's record label had his placed over there.
Isn't she the mascara model?
I think so. Now, they're a limited edition that came out for Record Store Day. So I'm like, well, this will probably go up in value. And I found a little shop. The guy that I buy from here, which is a great little store in Elgin, Illinois, called Rediscover Records. His Billie Eilish sold out immediately. Although I did get a Pogues record from him, and that's still in the mail too. But I went on eBay, and I was happy to find somebody that was actually selling these things for the normal price that they were selling them for right out, on Record Store Day, rather than the normal thing, which is double the price and more on eBay. So I ordered a couple of them. But the story here is the place I ordered them from is in Indianapolis, which I can drive to Indianapolis. I mean, now with one eye, maybe it'll take a little longer, but I could drive to Indianapolis in just about 2.5 hours. And this stuff was all sent out on Monday. It's now Friday, but the last I looked, it started in Indianapolis and now it's in Des Moines, Iowa. So I don't know why they just drove by Chicago and went a few hundred more miles. And that's where it is.
You can assume that they're routing it through Portland, Kenosha, the usual places.
Maybe they probably have a lot of bricks and stuff that have to be delivered very quickly for rioting and looting. But when people talk about the post office, this isn't the first time. And a couple other people chimed in on the packages they had ordered from our buddy Cal, lavenderblossoms.org, with the great salves. My mom, my wife both love those things. And it seems that there's a lot of weirdness going on in the United States Postal Service. And this isn't really a surprise that people are a little concerned when it comes to the mail-in voting.
Can you blame them for screwing up some of the deliveries after they drink all of that booze that they're transporting?
That's true. I don't think the post office can handle booze, but it's like, do you think people tell you the truth? That's what I always love. When you show up.
How long have you been in 2020 again? Yeah. And what makes you think that laws matter anymore?
When you show up at the post office and they're like, anything liquid, fragile, perishable, or whatever. And I'm just like, no. do you ever check?
And they're like, damn it. They're like, do you have any very expensive liquor? And if so, how long was it barrel aged?
Right. I mean, why does it sound like there's liquid in here when I shake it? I don't know. No, don't worry about that. Just let it go. Let it send. But I mean, Donald Trump, is he not the ultimate troll? I do. I mean, there's a lot of things that I understand why people don't like about him, because he has a personality and he says things that are a little bit abrasive at times. But the fact that he is the ultimate troll.
I can relate to that.
Yeah, I can relate to that too, but I understand why some people don't. It's the ultimate troll that he went out.
I understand why that some people have no sense of humor, but that doesn't mean that I have to humor them.
So many people don't have a sense of humor right now. Donald Trump, not one of those people, because when you come out and announce on national television whatever he was doing when he was Virginia somewhere, or South Carolina, he was somewhere. I mean, I don't know where, but he was somewhere, and he said, well, I suggest everybody that wants to vote for me vote twice. Now, this was genius for one simple reason, because
every single blogger at a mainstream news outlet are going to lose their fucking shit about a comment like that.
Right, but why? That's the question. Why are they losing their shit when Donald Trump, the president?
Because they're going to spin it into he's telling people to cheat.
He is, but what are they also telling us with vehemence up until this point?
That the post office is
that it's impossible to cheat with mail-in voting.
Oh, well, yeah.
That's been the left. That's been the mantra.
The political messaging from both sides switches so often these days. It's really hard to tell. I try not to pay too much attention to what people are saying, because it turns out people are really stupid.
They
even
are
in the best of years.
They are, but the left, that's this whole thing was, well, mail-in voting, of course it's safe. There's not going to be anything wrong at all. There's not going to be any fraud. There's not going to be any corruption. Mail-in voting is the safest thing in the world. Donald Trump says vote twice. Oh my God, how dare he say that? Well, no.
Isn't that like the, yeah.
Well, sorry. Which is it then, right? Which is it? Is it, if you're afraid that he said that because it's going to cause massive amounts of fraud, then you are admitting that mail-in voting can lead to massive amounts of fraud. Correct? Or am I missing the logic bomb here?
The most fascinating voting related story that I read was I saw it come from a couple different places, but I think it was all one firm. There was a lot of doom and gloom about people saying, what did it start with? Hillary said, Biden, even if you lose on election night, don't concede.
Right.
And there was a firm that said, well, it looks like Trump will appear to win on election night, but don't worry, because the flood of mail-in ballots coming in over the next week will completely reverse it. If that is not an admission that someone's going to be fucking cheating, I don't know what is.
Right. I mean, that really seems like we've got a bunch of people ready to put more ballots in the mail if we lose.
Oh yeah, over the next week, we're going to be manufacturing all the ballots. You know, I've told the story on this show before about, Washington State has all mail-in ballots, and the 2004 government election that we had, where on election night it was really, really close, but the Republican Dino Rossi had like a 0.5% lead, maybe 15,000, 20,000 votes in a state of 7 million. So that's really close. And it was enough to trigger a statutory automatic recount. Well, that's fine, except that during the recount, the most populous county in the state, King County, the most leftist county, the one containing Seattle, their elections department just happened to find another room. Oh, are we cracking beers already?
I think I wanted to Dvorak. You wanted to see if that would throw you off like it did Adam.
Me. You Dvoraked me.
Yes.
So, no, anyways, when this election was going on, the automatic recount was triggered. The Republican was up by, 15,000 votes. Automatic recount is triggered. And King County, the Seattle County, mysteriously found several boxes of ballots that they had not seen the first time around. I guess like, hey, does anyone use this closet? Oh, I don't know. I saw Francis fucking in there earlier, but hey, look, ballots. Where'd these come from? So they counted those. And in the recount, it suddenly was a lot closer, like on the order of 800 votes. And the Republican was still winning. And so the Democrat sued to get another recount, saying it was too close. And so the judge said, okay, you're going to have to recount it again. So every single county out there goes and grabs the boxes of ballots that they had already counted, starts sifting through it again. Almost all the counties came to the same count. But what a mystery. King County found a few more boxes of ballots that hadn't been counted. Just found them. Like, hey, what are these doing here, Fred? Oh, just, we're sitting there just in case we need to print up a bunch more. And lo and behold, by 37 votes, the Democrat won on the second recount, and she ended up running the state for the next 8 years.
Wait, no recount after that? It's we keep recounting until the Democrat wins and then we stop?
Yeah, it's the EU way. That was how they got the European Union founded, years ago. That's how when a bureaucratic institution decides that this is the outcome that they want ahead of time, they just put it up for a vote so that you have the illusion of choice, and then force you to keep revoting until you get the result you want.
Yeah, get the vote you want, and then we can stop. We don't have to vote, and we don't have to keep counting anytime after that.
Absolutely. Well, why would you ever? It's like the old adage, when you're searching for something, it's always in the last place you look, because only stupid people would continue looking after you find it. It's just like with the vote. Once you get the result you want, why would you keep voting?
Now, the United States is no stranger to having votes that are very, very close, which does pose a problem. I mean, the years that, like Obama, you had a landslide that was easy. There was really no question about it. Reagan, his second term landslide, no question about it. These years where it is so close.
Trump, second term landslide, no doubt about it.
I'm not going to say that's not true, because I do believe in, not to use the cliche, but the silent majority. I think there's a lot of people watching what's going on in the United States right now and it's not even civil unrest. It is just out and out lawlessness. Because there was a woman.
Yeah, it's not civil.
No. And there was a woman that was asking Biden a question and went off book and very, simply said that there is a difference between rioting and looting and people that are protesting. I respect people that protest, that are just looking to get their voice heard. Now, if you're driving your car into the front of a fur emporium or jewelry store or whatever, and running in and grabbing all the merchandise, you're not a protester. You're a criminal. And there's a difference. And I don't think the average person, I don't care what your color is, I don't care what your religion is, I don't care anything about your background. I think the vast majority of people understand that they want to live in a country where the laws actually protect the citizens. That's the only reason to have laws. I mean, that's
my favorite. By the way, you brought this up. My favorite quote this week was from Chris Cuomo, who I believe is on CNN.
Yes.
And he says, tell me where it says that protests must be peaceful. The Constitution, you dumb motherfucker. Right there in the First Amendment, where it says you have the right to peaceably assemble. It doesn't say you have the right to violently assemble. That's not cool.
No, it's not. And there's a lot of these videos flying around there, but there was one of a gas station, a service station, Circle K, something like that, that was totally, of course, looted and destroyed. And there was a black lady out.
Things are afoot at the Circle K.
Yeah. And there was a black lady out front just screaming that this was her place, man. That, this is a black owned business. Nobody cares.
No, they don't. Mob mentality, higher reasoning functions, the kind that would be necessary to try to decide friend from foe. It's well understood. Those go out the window the moment you enter a mob mentality state, which is one of the reasons why mobs are so dangerous, because the main reason of avoiding conflict is to reason with somebody and appeal to their better nature. And mobs don't have a better nature, which is why the only effective ways of dealing with a mob is to either exhaust their fuel, which could mean the city's completely gone, or it could mean you just get them to sober up, which is or you have to give them something to fear bigger than you've got to appeal to emotion, and overpowering force would do that. I mean, if you got a mob of Antifas going up and Trump rolled in tanks, by the way, not recommending this would be terrible. But if just straight up full military went in, and you'd see these riots calm down in a big hurry, because they're not equipped for that.
No. And some of them have. And if
there's not much else that's going to do, because you can't reason with people once they've entered a mob.
And if you caught the No Agenda show yesterday, Adam talked about having somebody that he believed, as far as a boots on the ground, knowing what's going on, that mentioned that these National Guard units that are going in to quell the violence, that there are special forces sprinkled into these, which is, things are getting serious. But this isn't just sending in, a part-time weekend warrior that is going in to quell this violence. If they're sending in, Navy SEALs and Rangers and those kind of things, something might actually start getting done.
But is it the something that we want? I don't know.
Well, the bottom line is the violence has to come to an end. And
I feel like we really missed our opportunity, because none of these kids were ever spanked as a child. that would have been the right time to do it.
Yeah, to learn that lesson. But this is way beyond.
It takes a whole lot more property insurance to spank them now.
This is way beyond anything that a normal, reasonable person would have been able to envision 10, 20, 30 years ago, even, that we're going to have DAs in these major areas, including Chicago and New York, that refuse to prosecute criminals. This is a recipe for disaster, because once you know it's the land of lawlessness, the criminals do whatever the hell they want. And everybody, I'm sure, has seen the story already, and I don't know if this has really been proven yet. I haven't seen cops falling left and right yet here in Chicago, but there was a story that all of the major gangs in the Chicago area have gotten together to play whack-a-cop. And if that is the truth, then it is going to get way worse.
So all the major gangs except for the cops.
Right. All the gangs against the cops.
All the other gangs got together against the one rival gang that was government funded.
Yeah, and if that's the case, then the cops here in Chicago are probably going to get the Rangers and the SEALs.
I mean, they have a lot of resources. They can bring in troops from elsewhere. This is not going to end well. And if that's really happening, then my recommendation to any civilians still in Chicago, get out, even if you have to walk or swim across the river because they keep trying to trap people in by putting the bridges up or whatever. Just get out. If this is going to change from the occasional skirmish to an all-out gang war against cops, you don't want to be there.
No, you don't want to be anywhere near there. Somebody did mention on No Agenda Social that there was going to be a stripper protest in Chicago. Either today or next.
I might actually. I'd attend that Zoom meeting.
And, out in the Daily Center, I think here, and somebody's like, hey, maybe get us some boots on the ground. And I'm like, I haven't been in downtown Chicago in at least 5 years. And their answer was, well, that's probably why you're still alive. It explains that.
Yeah. I haven't been in downtown Chicago for at least that long.
Yeah. It's sad. It's scary that you see this stuff going on all around the country. And we get right back to people voting in November. I think
you mentioned the prosecutors. I wanted to pull in a left coast story just to throw it in. Have you ever heard of Contra Costa County? Apparently, it's right near San Francisco.
Yes, yeah, I have.
The DA of Contra Costa County, a person by the name of Diane Becton, who the Zero Hedge article that I read made sure to point out that she was Soros funded, but I think that she can also be hung for her own crimes and not just his. She has ordered the city attorneys to consider the looter's needs before filing charges.
Right.
When somebody loots in her county.
Right. If you're poor, you won't be prosecuted.
And the note said, investigators, this is the DA office deciding whether to bring criminal charges. Investigators must now consider factors including, was the theft committed for financial gain or personal need? Anybody sane in California, get out.
Well, this makes sense because this is the mantra. This is what the people that want Marxism and communism believe. They don't believe in any personal property. So this is why, you were a crime of stealing under $1,000. We're not going to prosecute you. Now it's going to be, you stole that $50,000 automobile. Oh, but you're poor. Hey, well, that's okay. This is all this, that person that dared to buy that car. How dare they have money? It's okay. You took it.
And it kind of conveniently ignores the question of what personal need is satisfied by setting a Walmart on fire. Well, okay, maybe a wall. Actually, I understand a lot of people's need to burn a Walmart, but say a local salon owned by a local business person who's active in the community. And again, mob rule doesn't care. But what need do you have for just destroying, not like beyond looting? Okay, looting, if your mind is sufficiently warped by these Marxist ideas, you can be like, well, looting means that you get what they have, and that's just redistribution of wealth. But what kind of redistribution is it when you're just randomly destroying stuff? When you take a textile store and burn it? Well, nobody's getting rich off of that.
No, well, it's all, again, part of the whole communism concept is to burn the cities because their theory, this goes back to the 50s, was that your average middle-class American is way too soft. And the minute they look out the window and see the orange glow of things burning, that they're just going to give in to whatever. And this is the concept, which is, oh, no, well, yeah, bring in Biden, bring in these commies. Oh, that'll stop the violence. Yes, if it'll stop the violence, it's good. And I don't get that mentality.
Violence there. Something I usually say it in jest, although it is literally true, is violence can solve every problem. And if you have a problem that violence isn't solving, you just need to use more of it. But the problem is violence very, very rarely solves problems satisfactorily. And it's usually not in the way you want. And tongue in cheek, I'll always say, hey, yeah, can you solve this problem with violence? But it's not the way that you want to solve problems if you want to live with somebody afterward, which is kind of what people have to do if we're going to all stay in the same geographical area.
Well, that was the issue when the minute Trump got elected and this resist movement came up. This wasn't people dealing with each other in a rational manner any longer. The resist thing was absolute. I mean, and Trump points it out constantly because he is the ultimate troll. He should really just start going down some of these talking points that the Democrats want and say he wants it, because then they can't be for it. I mean, I do believe if Trump came out today and said, oh, you know what? This Green New Deal seems like the best thing ever. Let's do it. AOC would be like, oh, no, fuck the Green New Deal. Well, honey, it's yours.
No. I hate bringing up that woman.
She's your favorite.
She does not deserve any attention at all.
Somebody send Ryan a AOC poster, please, in like the Farrah Fawcett pose.
That's fine. I've got a wood stove. That's where all my spam mail goes.
Well, you got to heat the house in the winter.
Yeah, and unfortunately, her hot air is not going to be enough.
No, you need a little bit more. But that is the.
I think the first place where the resist movement, the idea of hashtag not my president and resist was I really, really crystallized for me that this is not rational and these people are genuinely being retarded and have continued since before the election. Was who was that the actor in the Transformer movies who stood in New York and was like, for 4 years we're going to stay here and chant that we resist Trump.
I don't know, but it doesn't seem like a real good idea or use of your time.
No, it was what the fuck was his name? Like LaBeouf or something?
Oh yeah, Shia LaBeouf.
Is that that Shia, guy? That was probably one of the first times when I know that there were other examples, but when I looked at this and went, you honestly think that this is even it was the point when I realized there are a lot of people who have microphones in their face or cameras in their face that are just plain fucking bonkers. And I have since learned that, that is, well, first of all, that's the attitude that is being drilled into all of our childs today, what we've been taught. We're no longer teaching critical thinking. We're teaching lead with your emotions and whatever feels good, go with it. And if you don't get your way, then throw a tantrum. These are all our 3-year-old behaviors, but now we're getting them out of college students. But I never realized at the time. I was like, okay, there's a few Hollywood people who are completely out of their fucking gourd. And somewhere along the line, I realized that is at least 51% of the country. I mean, that's what it has turned into. People who use critical thought and rational thinking to make their decisions are now a minority, which is why we're all pretty well fucked, because they're just going to keep voting in people who are activists who lead with their retarded emotions and go out and say resist because for resistance sake. And I'm
right, because we don't like this, but we don't like the president. Well, this is one sad that we're just a matter of weeks now from the next presidential election, and one side hasn't accepted the last, all the way up to Hillary Clinton, who is still making stupid statements about she won and blah, blah, blah. This, there's no other way to go about this. The left believes that the whole system is not legitimate. So I don't even understand why they're taking part in the thing this time, because they've already admitted the whole thing's not legitimate. Trump's not really the president, should have never been elected. So what does that do when their guy, let's just say Biden gets elected? Well, then the switch just flips to the other side.
Yeah. Democrats warned that Trump might not respect the results of the 2020 election.
And they haven't,
says the party who have not respected for 4 years the results of the 2016 election.
Yes. And that is an issue. I mean, I understand nobody likes losing, but the fact that one of the two major political parties has been going on for about 4 years now, that it wasn't fair, it wasn't right, it wasn't just, that is a really bad thing for the country. It really is.
It's because their demographics shifted. They became the party of petulant children and have to behave that way now. It's how they relate to their base.
Yeah. I guess you're right.
The people who are going to bring about real change in that party are not the petulant kid base, because that, the progressive left, or whatever you want to call them, the far radical left, the people who have been totally indoctrinated and think that electing Democrats is just a convenient stepping stone on the path to total communist takeover of the country. There are a lot of people who really seem to think that these days. Those are not the people who are going to bring about real change, though. The people who are going to bring out real change in the Democrat Party are the people like my mother-in-law, who have been very comfortable her whole life voting Democrat, because you just know through inertia that, the Democrats take care of you and the Republicans take advantage of you. And that's just the way it's always been. And they don't actually pay any attention to what's going on out there. They just know that this is, and she probably made her decision back in 1963 when they were the party of civil rights. And I got to say, that whole civil rights thing was a pretty good idea. And it sure would be nice if we weren't doing exactly the opposite of it right now.
Yes.
But, the people like that, the people who made their decision decades ago about which party they're going to vote for forever, and then don't pay attention. The point is, we are approaching the point where they're not going to have a choice but to pay attention. And I think there are a lot of people who have been the Democrat base, the people who don't want to think about politics, the people who don't want to watch political shows and don't want to see the rhetoric. And frankly, I can't blame anyone for not wanting to see this idiocy, of what passes for political discourse these days. But they're being forced to look at it and go, wait a minute. I don't like that there are riots in all the streets now. And, who's saying that we should have more riots, and who's saying that we should have less? Wait, this doesn't make sense. And when people actually start to critically look at what they've been fed all these years, and that is how real change happens.
Well, and their lies. The lies
there's
are
going to be
getting
a lot
worse.
of that in. Well, they're politicians. Their lies have always been bad.
Yeah, but they're getting worse. In the media, the lies are getting worse. And there's no question about this, because there are some people who are still fact checking the stuff and reporting on it. And you can see this happening. Again, if Trump was such a bad guy, why do they keep making stuff up? If he's such a bad guy, it would be really easy just to report the truth and let people make the decisions. But I don't remember anything over the past 2 years that has been a big story about Trump that didn't turn out to be at least a majority false. And
because the best kept secret in propaganda is that what's truth is what you make it. And if their lies are juicy enough, they just turn that into truth, and that's even better.
Yeah, and it's sad. I mean, this is the information age, which is how this can all happen. The truth or a lie, it'll go around the world in an instant, and people most likely will have no clue which it is. And I've asked that question multiple times.
Because the lie will go around the world in an instant, and by the time the truth gets there, the news cycle has moved on.
Yes, and the media has moved on from issuing retractions or corrections, which is just another reason why they've become completely irrelevant. It used to be back in the day, if there was a mistake made, and there were mistakes made, it would be a front page retraction. Now, like the Chicago Tribune said something about the president 50 years ago, and it ended up being wrong. Man, they wanted you to know that was wrong because they cared about the truth. It wasn't it was about actually reporting the news, no matter what it was, which now it's very rare. And I wonder if anybody has made a list. If anybody knows of a website or somebody keeping up a list of journalists who actually report fairly and aren't just completely in the activist group.
Yeah. It's sorted by when they last did it, and the most recent name on there was like Walter Cronkite or something.
I believe it. And that's what's really sad about all this stuff. And because where do you go if you want honesty? And we talk about a lot of stories. It doesn't matter if it's political or tech or what it is. Here on Grumpy Old Ben's, I do the same thing on Random Thoughts. And you're going to the internet for your news. And I mean, you can try to get a variety of sources, but as we've talked about in the past, one source can spawn 100 different pages. And I noticed this again today on Fox News, their website picking up a story on the late, great Tom Seaver that his daughter had posted on Facebook, like the last image she took of him recently. And I'm like, I want to see what Tom looked like. I haven't seen him in a while. And the Fox News article doesn't have the photo. And I realized why. They're just taking the text from somebody else and had no idea what they were even posting, because you're posting an article about a photograph and then you're not showing the photograph. So
I understand that they are classically not considered to have the same left wing bent as most of the other media.
It's getting there.
Honestly, I think you're kind of barking up the wrong tree if you're looking for real journalism from Fox.
No, I agree. The places I've been going, and I know completely right-leaning bent is Breitbart, but my way of trying to figure out the reality in a lot of this stuff is to go to Breitbart, to read their articles, and then try to get them proven wrong. That's kind of the easiest solution for me. Go to the other sources and try to prove the Breitbart story wrong.
Yeah, in absence of a neutral journalism, which I think is too high a bar if you're asking for that, then the alternate option is you go to someone you know is biased, and then you go to somebody that you know is biased the other direction, and you try to reconcile what they're saying. And most people are going to have a lot of trouble with that because they are either afraid or they just don't have it in them. They perhaps through lack of practice. You have to engage your critical thinking skills. You have to look at the Breitbart article and look at the WAPO article and say, okay, what facts do they agree on? What facts do they, okay, is this plausible? Why are they disagreeing here? Okay, does this difference in opinion or approach, can this be explained by knowing that the people who wrote both articles are partisan hacks who are trying to push propaganda on me, and what message are they trying to tell me, and what information are they getting from that message? And unfortunately, acquiring actual information requires critical thought, which is not taught in this country anymore, or most of the world.
Right. That is absolutely it. WGN, I posted this somewhere, saw this. They're trying now to launch a new news service. And WGN is one of those first channels, no matter where you live in the United States, you probably have access to WGN. They were one of the first channels that were picked up on cable, even though they were a Chicago station, and then they kind of went to a national thing. Now that they don't have baseball, I guess, they're without the sports. They were purchased. Of course, the Tribune was purchased. All of their assets were purchased about a year or so ago. They're trying to make it into a real news organization. They're launching like a 4-hour nightly news, and they're saying their goal is to actually do journalism, to not be biased, and to have multiple fact checkers from all sides that are checking the stories. So it'll be interesting to see if anybody can pull it off.
They're setting their bar too high.
It is. I think it's going to be nearly impossible to do that. And if they do, I'm not sure there's an audience anymore. Are people way too just processed to look at the news as entertainment now? Do they really want the straight news people just to give them a story and not tell them what to think about it? Or is that just going to be confusing for people now?
I think that the